about some words. The United States men's national soccer team went up to America's hat on Saturday, riding a high after a 1-0 victory over El Salvador on Thursday evening. Canada is currently sitting at number 1 in the CONCACAF. And had the Americans beat Canada, they would have taken that place away from them. But as you can tell by the inflection of my voice, the disdain that I have for the segment that I'm doing right now, that didn't happen. That's not what happened. The Americans instead went to Canada and got blanked 2-0, ladies and gentlemen. It was bad. However, Greg Berhalter, who doesn't know what words means, said this, and I quote, "I think it was an entire team effort that was outstanding. We asked them to be dominant. We asked them to embrace the conditions, embrace the physicality, and I think we did that and more. It's hard for me to remember a performance away from home this dominant without getting a result. So the result hurts. The performance doesn't hurt. I'm proud of the guys, proud of the way they competed," end quote. Greg, dominant is a word, and that word also has meaning. Dominant, of course, the definition is dominating, the most important, powerful, or influential. Greg, you lost 2-0, okay? You lost 2-0. It's not what dominant means, Greg. That's not what dominant means. See, dominant means that you were dominant, that you were dominating, that you dominated. There was none of that I would attach to the Yanks in that match on Saturday. In fact, if you ask me what the most redeeming quality on the pitch about the Americans was, I'd say we dominated in the number of players who are playing in domestic leagues around the world. We dominated in the number of EPL players that we have. We've dominated in, I don't know, having the best looking uniforms on the pitch that night. You know where we didn't dominate, Greg? Playing soccer. We got dominated. It was 2-0. But Rob, we had 62 minutes of possession. That's super duper, guys. But see, Canada basically played our game better than us. We defend physically. We prefer to push you around, and then we prefer to counterattack and take advantage of mistakes that you've made. You know, what the Canadians did. And
boo, Canada!
Football, what you're aiming for is to break out of the channels that the team defending across from you wants to allow. That's the goal, right? Canada's goal was, we're going to let them push up the outside to just past midfield. We're going to let them get to a certain spot on the field. And once they're at that certain spot on the field, then we will close them down and try to take the ball back with physical play. Possessing the ball don't mean a damn thing, right? If a basketball team goes out and runs the shot clock down to 23 seconds every possession, but then shoots 8% from the floor, that is not dominating, Greg. Because at the end of the day, in a high-pressure situation like World Cup qualifying, the only thing that, and when I say the only thing, I mean the only thing that matters is the result. I don't get, this is not training time, Greg. We are not playing friendly exhibitions anymore, Greg. This is not a qualifier warm-up match in Jacksonville, Greg. This is a game where 3 points were just given to a team to jump higher than us when there were only 3 qualifying spots available. So don't talk to me about moral victories because we possessed 60% of the time. It doesn't matter. What is possessed is the lead at the end of the 95th minute of stoppage time. And that's what Canada possessed. And you know what else they possess? 3 points from that game. And you know what we do not possess? A single point, which means, A, Canada has now grown their league to the top of that table, which is going to make it that much more difficult to catch them if we can. Number two, it does not grow our lead over Mako at all, meaning that if we have a screwed up result coming up on, what is it, tomorrow, or either tomorrow or Wednesday, when we take on Honduras in St. Paul, again, outside in the snow and the cold. Great job, Greg. Great job. We dominate by speed and physicality, and you were like, no, let's play in the snow where speed doesn't matter anymore, right? Let's play in the snow where speed doesn't matter. Great job, Greg. Great job. So Canada gets 3. The Americans get 0. Mexico is now nipping at our heels to take over spot number 2. And remember, there's only 3 that qualify. We'll talk about that game more in depth later on in the show as well. And then obviously item number 3 in the lunch breakdown, which we are going to spend this entire time talking about as soon as we get Alonzo plugged up here in just a moment from now. A pair of games yesterday that determined the Super Bowl, and boy howdy did we get another weekend of great football. It took overtime for him to do it, but Joey Ice Cold Burrow and the Bengals knock off the Chiefs 27-24 in overtime. Kansas City plays with fire 2 weeks in a row, and this time it does not go their way. They go to overtime. They win the coin toss. And my goodness, did social media fingers begin to type out angry messages about the overtime rules again that never got sent, because Patrick Mahomes on the first possession tried to sky one down the field. It got defended as well as I've seen a pass defended in a long time, picked off. The Bengals march it down to the other end and kick a game-winning walk-off overtime field goal. Joey B, 23 of 38, 250, a pair of touches, and 1 pick. Sacked just 1 time in this game. However, it was Patrick Mahomes that faced fire the entire time. Sacked 4 times for 39 yards, 26 of 39, 275, 3 touchdowns, and a pair of INTs, including that overtime INT that cost them the game. We're going to get into the X's and O's of that a little deeper coming up later in the show. Obviously, the NFC Championship game went last night, and it was the LA Rams who found themselves in a 17-7 hole at one point, but rack off 13 unanswered in the fourth quarter to knock off the 49ers of San Francisco 20-17 is your final. Matty Ice, Matt Stafford, 31 of 45, 337, a pair of touchdowns and 1 pick. Jimmy G, on the other hand, in probably his finale as a 49er, 16 of 30, 232, also 2 touchdowns, also 1 interception, not sacked a single time in that one. Deebo Samuel, 7 carries for 26 yards, but also had 4 snags for 72 through the air. Brandon Ayuk, 4 for 69, 50 for Elijah Mitchell. The wide receivers on the other side of the field, though, big day for the Rams. A $142 and a pair of touches for Cooper Kupp. Odell Beckham Jr. decided to show up as well. 9 snags, a $113 for Odell. Cam Akers, 48 yards, but left the game with an injury. Sony Michel had to step up and was, not great. 10 carries, 16 yards for 1.6 through the 1.6 average on the ground for LA. It was as heated of a game as we have seen in a very long time. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. We're going to get Lonzo settled up, figure out, we'll get him on the air. So when we come back, we will talk AFC Championship game. Break down the Kansas City Chiefs falling just shy to Joey B and the Bengals. We'll have Lonzo join us next on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show.
Do what? Are you? If you're talking to me, you need to put your well. Yeah, it should be 3. It should absolutely be number 3 because 1 and 2 are used for something else, and 4, as you said, is used. Yeah, and I have no control here because I couldn't log in. I saw you mute and unmute me, and so you're sure I'm not muted. So my microphone is not muted, right? No, me and Rob's are muted right now, and yours should not be muted. I think he muted it just so we can figure this out. Oh, okay. All right. Should the green audio button be on router? You're in utility. I mean, I already talked to engineering. They thought maybe it could be something on my end, but I'm put it on speaker where Rob can hear me too. Okay, so I talked to Chris, and Chris was wondering if it was on my end, but I'm seeing audio coming through my microphone. Unless a router, unless a button is changed or something to mess up the Axia, and if so, I don't know how to fix that. Right, because they're quarantined. So, yeah. Tony's the one who got it, and now we're all, out because of it. Turning it on and up won't do anything. If you can't hear me, you can't hear me. That's what's so weird. I can shut my computer completely down, bring it back up, and see. But well, I'm gonna shut down and then bring it back. You worry about the show. I'll jump back in and we'll see if we can figure it out. All right. Yep.
Sports talk on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lonzo will rejoin us shortly. We're having some technical ends. I promise you, Lonzo is not avoiding eating his crow. Lonzo is going to be joining us, hopefully, in the next few minutes. He's not avoiding eating his crow, I promise. He showed up. He turned out. He was on the stream. The folks in the stream could hear him. But we have got our engineers working right now to figure out why we can't get his stream on the air. So Lonzo will hopefully join us here in a minute, since he was absolutely busy as it gets during the last segment working out the deets. We'll say to my man, hello, Owen Watterson. What's up, fella? Your mic is not. Put it. Come on. Yeah, just push all the buttons. Nope, sure can't. Jiggle the wire on it because it's been coming loose. Let's try that. Man, we've just decided to have ourselves a Monday, haven't we? All right, try it again. Let's see if it's on now. No, all right. Well, I'm just riding solo. Try to catch me riding solo, baby. I got it. I got this. I got this. All right. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to segment number 2. We're going to have ourselves a day. That's all right. We're going to get through it. NFC Championship game. We've got the 49ers and the Rams. How did the Rams get through this? It was very simple. It was Cooper Kupp, man. It was Cooper Kupp. We can talk about schemes and X's and O's and getting over the hump, and all those things are true, and all those things are good takes. But at the end of the day, when it came down to it, when they needed the big play, CK was there, man. Cooper Kupp was on a different level. The touchdown pass, the first touchdown pass he caught over in the corner, when he went over the DB's shoulder, and by the way, what an absolute dime dropped.
Absolutely.
There he is. There's Owen. Absolute dime drop by Matt Stafford. I got to tell you, this might be the most likable quarterback matchup I've ever seen, right?
I totally agree with that. I mean,
Stafford raised elegantly a pair of middle fingers at the entire Detroit program. I made 2 predictions at the beginning of this football season to my colleague. I made 2 predictions. Number 1, Urban Meyer would not finish this year as the head coach of the Jags. Ding, ding, ding. Number 2, Matt Stafford was going to show that the problems in Detroit were not Matt Stafford. Detroit made a scapegoat out of Matt Stafford. Detroit needed something to blame their failures on as an organization so that they didn't have to look at themselves in the mirror and go, maybe it's us, right? Like I've said for years as kind of a joke that, at some point, Taylor Swift is going to have to release an album called Maybe It's Me, right? Like she's got 15 albums out about all the boyfriends that have done her wrong and broke her heart. At some point, Tay-Tay, and trust me, I'm a 36-year-old dude who's never been married. I am well aware that the problem's me, right? It's not every woman I've ever been with. The problem is me. Well, the problem, Detroit Lions, is you. It ain't your jilted ex-lover who finally had enough and got out of Dodge and set up with somebody better looking than you are. The problem is you. It's always been you. It's never been anything but you. And Matt Stafford's proved it alongside Sean McVay, Cooper Kupp, and the Rams. And then on the other side of the football, you got my dog Joey Burrows, who last week said, hey, the SEC's plenty loud. I'm ready for Arrowhead. And everybody went, oh, me too, including me, went, oh, Joey. If there's one fan base, if there's one stadium, you don't want to tell them they ain't loud enough to rattle you. It is Arrowhead. And all he did was lead a touchdown drive late. All he did was go out in overtime, slice and dice his way down into field goal territory, and win that game so that his Bengals could make their way to franchise Super Bowl appearance number 3 and the first one in about 310 years. All right. Stunning. Joey B got asked. He wore this big medallion to the postgame presser, and a reporter said, Joey, be real. Are those real diamonds in that necklace? And Joey B said, hell yeah, they are. I make enough money. They better not be fake. Joey B is the baddest gangster rapper on the planet right now. Yeah, it's off again. Super cool, man. Super cool. I need you guys to know Owen just said the most profound, intelligent, hottest take I have ever heard in my life. It was spectacular and spot on, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you ready to actually hear it now?
Don't touch the mic. You're on. Move your hand away. Talk.
Yeah?
Don't touch that mic again.
Okay.
See,
you got
only
it.
instruction I'm going to give you today. Do not touch that mic again.
Rob, let me ask you this. Is Joe Burrow now the most likable quarterback in the entire NFL?
I think it's him or Matt Stafford right now, right? Like it's him or Stafford. Stafford went out there yesterday, like I said, threw up the gangsta sign, the deuces, to the entire franchise of the Detroit Lions and brought his team to a Super Bowl. Played good football, right? He didn't He didn't have to do too much, right? He did exactly what he needed to do. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the spot that Stafford was in yesterday that would have tried to do too much. They'd have tried to force the ball. He, on the other hand, said, I got CK down there in the end zone with a trailing DB. I'm going to just put it where I need it to make that guy a star. And he did. Joey B on the flip side went out there. I guess it's different, right? Because here's the thing. Matt Stafford could have spent all year absolutely running trash at Detroit, right? Y'all done told me it was my fault. Y'all done told me we were 0-2 in the postseason because of me. It's all about how you like me now. How you like me now? But he didn't do it. What'd he do? He came out afterwards. He said, feels great. Glad to do this with my team. Nice job on the defense. I trust them. I trust my playmakers to make plays. I don't have to do anything special, but just be me. Then on the other hand, you got Joey B, who rode up to the podium iced out after he knocked off Patrick Mahomes. I was listening to ESPN Big Stick Radio on Sunday morning. I was out about Sunday morning getting ready for the games. And I'm listening to, I can't remember who it was that was hosting the show, but they got to talking about, if you got to create the Super Bowl, which side from the AFC and the NFC would you pick? And like a good chunk of people were saying, I would pick the Bengals, right? I would pick the Bengals. And I heard one guy say, would you pick the Bengals because you're tired of seeing the Chiefs, right? A fourth Super Bowl for the Chiefs. Do we need to see them again? And his answer was no, I'd pick the Bengals because they're fun. Because they're fun. If you're a Chiefs fan, sure, the Chiefs are fun. But the Bengals got attitude, they got swagger, they got style, they got drama. Lord knows the last 2 weeks they got drama. They got all of it. They had it all together. And when it came down to it, they did what they needed to do. They've got swagger. And Joey B is the source of that, right? Like Joe Burrow is just owning who the hell he is, doesn't care what you think. There was a reporter in the locker room or outside the locker room after who said cigar smoke is just pouring out of the Bengals locker room. That was one man. That was Joey B. He's back there throwing back haters and stogies like that's what he's paid to do because he does not care what you think. And I think all of us, Owen, here's what I feel about Joey B, and then I'll get your thoughts. I know all of us, if you asked, are you able to be yourself unapologetically without regard all your life? If you say yes, you're a liar. No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not. I'm not. I promise you. If you listen, I am me on the radio is me in real life, but there are things that I have to hold back. I have a very dark sense of humor that I cannot use on the radio, right? I say dirty words in public, which I can't say on the radio. Absolutely. There are things about me that I have to hold back. I can't be 100% me on the radio. You get like 90% of me, but like there's parts I have to hold back. Everybody who has a job, you cannot roll up into your job and be like, hey, yo, our customers suck, because you'll get fired. Joey B ain't getting fired. My man's going to the damn Super Bowl. He is the most unapologetic dude in the league for who he is. And he's so good right now that he gets away with it, which we like him for.
Right. And I don't know. You kind of hit the nail on the head where I was thinking about the same thing yesterday, and I couldn't exactly pinpoint why it was that not only I like Joe Burrow so much, but everybody else collectively has just fallen in love with this guy. And you're exactly right. He is unapologetically himself. And this, Rob, is a stat I absolutely want Vegas to go after here soon. I want to be able to bet on the over-under for how many minutes after a Bengals win we get a post-game picture of Joe Burrow smoking a stogie.
4. He might not leave the field before he lights up, right? But again, like, that's Joe Burrow. He kind of got, there's that picture of him after the LSU National Championship of 2019, where he was on a different plane of existence. In the locker room, My dude is laid back in a recliner, which, by the way, where the hell did recliner come from, right? Like, was that just chilling in the locker room? Joey B's got the legs crossed. He's reclined back. He's got the stogie in the right hand, and he's just mugging. He's just mugging. And it kind of became a thing. And I'll be real with you. I don't know if that was the first time that Joe Burrow ever lit up a stogie after a dub, but that picture, I've got a friend of mine who is an LSU fan who lives in New Orleans who literally bought a print of that picture and it hangs in his house. He just got a picture of Joey B, full LSU regalia, throwing back a heater after the national championship game. That's just that dude. And like I said, Joey B is a dude that is so unapologetically himself that I think all of us look at him with a sense of jealousy to some degree. Not like petty jealousy, right? There's petty jealousy where you look at a guy and you're jealous of the hot girl in the car. You're like, damn, that guy, hate that guy. Joey B, I look at and I go, yo, I'm kind of jealous of how cool that guy is, right? Like, I hate to say that as a 36-year-old man, but that dude is cool. Who was it? Was it
I'm not jealous of him.
There's Lonzo. What up, big fella?
I how could you ever be jealous of growing up Macaulay Culkin? Come on.
Do you remember Lonzo? The seasoned one of the group. Do you remember when Willie
old.
Joe Namath used to rock the fur coat on the sideline as a quarterback back in the day?
I have seen videos, but no, I don't remember that because I believe that. What year would that have been?
Oh God.
See, I think that was pre me into football. I didn't get into football until I believe it was 1982. So it definitely would have been
it was
before that.
It was definitely
Yes.
before that.
I think that was in the 70s. Yeah.
There's the legendary story of Willie Joe Namath rocking the fur coat on the sideline. I believe it was at a Super Bowl, if I recall correctly. Like, he bought a fur coat on a whim, and then he brought it to the Super Bowl. It was a cold weather Super Bowl, and he was like, screw it, this thing's warm, I'm rocking it, right? And we still talk about that because it was so flamboyant and over the top for what right? We talk NFL quarterbacks, and everybody wants down to business, right? Nose of the grindstone. If he ain't on the field, his nose is in the tablet diagnosing plays or whatever. Joe B don't care. Joey B don't care. He's just unapologetically that. And I think that's something that a lot of us are envious of in a good way. We wish we could get away with that. So we like dudes that do. And here's the thing. In the way Joe B's not doing it, he's not hurting anybody, right? Like, he's not hurting anybody. He's not out there drinking and driving. He's not out there having the cops called on him. He's not damaging property. He's not assaulting anybody. He's not causing issues with women. Joe B is just living it up. Hashtag YOLO. Go get you some. Live your best life. And I think, because Lonzo, you even said last week, if the Bengals beat the Chiefs, you'll be a Bengals guy for the Super Bowl. There's just something cool about Joe Burrow that makes us all on board.
Yeah, and looking at the stream, Tommy is asking if someone's going to buy their Bengals jersey. I guess he's probably talking to me. And I'm not that guy who gets all upset and goes, well, they beat my team, so I'm not rooting for them. If you are that guy, I guess you're normal. I don't know. But I am not that guy. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm rooting for the Bengals, even though some family members yesterday were talking stuff about the Chiefs, and it triggered a little something in me, but I got over it. So I'm fine. I'm fine.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. When we come back, we've talked a little bit about the quarterbacks. I think this might be the most I don't even know how to really phrase this. I've never really had to consider this before. This is probably the most interesting Super Bowl in terms of quarterbacks, because outside of a few jaded Florida Gator fans who hate Stafford for where he went to school, or a few jaded Alabama/Clemson fans because of where Joey B went to school, just in terms of NFL fans, these might be the most two light quarterbacks to face off against each other in a Super Bowl. And I think there's something interesting to that. When we come back, we're going to hear Lonzo's thoughts on the AFC title game. We'll give you ours from the NFC as well. Super Bowl is set. And just a reminder, you can hear the Super Bowl right here and only right here on ESPN Upstate. Let's take a break. Back after this. Lonzo, Rob, Owen, and you on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show. Listen on your Amazon or Google smart speaker. Just say play ESPN Upstate from the Bengals Market Studios.
Don't mess with
it.
Hey, Owen.
Yep.
Take number 1 out of utility. No. I'm not talking about the microphone. I'm talking about the commercials.
Oh, if you suffer yeah. Better.
There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to play the commercials on the air if we can help it, or on stream.
Okay. After this next segment, you'll have a Health Dare live read. Is that cool?
Okay, is that in this? I mean, right now?
No. It'll be
next
after
break.
This next segment.
In the 50 break. Okay,
Yes.
cool.
Yep. You'll have another Health Dare at 2:45, and then the only other live is Rob's got a QC Kinetics at 1:45, which I'll tell him about.
Okay. All right, so how you set the top of the hour up, that's how you need to set the other 2 up too. All right?
Yes, I believe that's exactly how I did it. Let me roll through here. So this next top of the hour got Rob Brown rejoin, set mode, sports flash, offside 60, game image, then Rob Brown open, set mode.
Okay, why is there a rejoin in there?
Is that not supposed to be there?
It should be ID.
And then the set mode?
No, ID, then sports flash, then offsides, then the thing. We're talking about at the 59:50 break.
Right.
Yeah.
So is there no ESPN at the top of the hour?
No.
Okay.
Not during this show. So, and I meant to write you out instructions, and it didn't happen because I was having computer problems. But
Okay.
and I've been on the phone with engineering about other stuff. So
Right. So what were these? Why was there 2 set modes placed in there at the top of the hour like that?
So you can put the ID and stuff in there.
Okay.
You sure you're in the right show? Because I don't think it's normally set up that way for this show. It is for
That's how it was in the stack.
our show. Oh, okay. Well, anyway. I think Diesel's setting up everything for you for.
Diesel's supposed to be coming in today. That's what Hendricks told me.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, how come he can come in and I can't?
I could not answer that, partner. So
That's just dumb.
so the-
but
so the
it's
59
not your deal. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So top of the hour, it'll go the ID, sports flash, offside 60, game image, then Rob Brown open.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes. And do the same for the 2:00 hour.
You got it. Nope. I don't have music for you, Rob. My bad.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Rob Alonzo, Owen sitting in on the board today, and you. 844-GSP. ESPN is the number to get in on the program today. You can text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN, and we will read those texts on the air. Text says ESPN, Joey B is the modern day Jim McMahon. There is...
Except for Joe Burrow is actually pretty good. No, Jim McMahon was on an excellent team and he was an okay quarterback, but he's nowhere near where Joey Burrow is.
In year number 2, by the way, like in year number 2 for Joey B. And don't get me wrong, I saw a take and I don't remember who made it saying Joey B is what Trevor Lawrence should strive to be. And I agree with that, right? Like my dude's in the Super Bowl in year number 2, had a phenomenal year. I have no doubt there are going to be some people who consider him a potential MVP candidate for what he did. I think Jamar Chase is probably the guy on that team that deserves that nomination. But that's a debate for another time. Joey B in year number 2 has had, I don't want to say he's figured this league out, right? But remember, he had that injury last year. How much different was the Bengals year last year pre-Jamar Chase if Joey B doesn't go down to that knee explosion? But year number 2, here's the thing though, and this is, Lonzo, this is something I think that a lot of teams can really learn about. The Bengals went all in on building around Joe Burrow, right? Like he was having a good year before his knee popped last year. He went all in. The Bengals went all in on building around that guy. But it takes the full commitment, and you still got to get lucky. I mean, the quarterback's still got to be good. It's pointless to build around a quarterback who's not good. But Joey B showed what he can be. The Bengals went all in on building around him. I guarantee there's going to be a focus on offensive line this offseason, but they put a really good receiver set around him with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, who by the way, T. Higgins, the unsung hero of this team, right? We've talked about Jamar, but T's been good. My hope, Lonzo, for Trevor Lawrence is that the Jags take a lesson from this and build around Trevor instead of just building a team that Trevor is on.
Well, we've talked about how Matt Rule is in a situation where he knows that this is his final season. Well, the Bengals coach was in a similar situation. Look at this turnaround. If they hadn't turned things around this year, he would definitely be on the hot seat. But he did it the right way. They got the right guy to build around, and this team's only going to get better as they get a better offensive line for sure. And he's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he's fun to watch on and off the field, which I think, again, is quite a bit of the appeal. I mean, the dude is a slinger when he's out there. He's not afraid to put it down there. I mean, even there's the old internet meme that's been going around about bleep it Jamar down there somewhere, and he said that out loud in real life. Like, what's your strategy on the deep ball? And he said, hey, bleep it, Jamar's down there somewhere, right? And he just embraces it. He leans into it, which I like about the guy. On the flip side, when we talk about quarterbacks, on the flip side is Matt Stafford. I mean, I got to tell you, I don't know if there was a quarterback in the league this year, Lonzo, that had more pressure on him than Matt Stafford. After he showed up in L.A., there were a ton of people. Oh, he's not the guy. That was the waste. That was this. That was that. Matt Stafford had probably more pressure on him than any other quarterback in the league, with maybe the exception of Jimmy Garoppolo. And not only did he deal with the pressure, he thrived under it. But the dude has not said anything about Detroit. He's never wished the Lions anything but success. Thanked the fans on the way out the door. Has mentioned the fans as being great fans ever since. He could absolutely be double burden the entire city of Detroit, and is elected not to. He just goes out there and does what he does. He's kind of the antithesis of Joey B, and I like him for that reason as well.
I'm so happy for him because we've heard him overly criticized, even on our station, by people, and now he's in the Super Bowl. The only bad part about it is if he goes there and he loses, the narrative's already written. See, he can't win the big game. Instead of feeling good for this guy who's done everything right and asked to be out of his contract, if I recall, and they traded a bunch to get him, and they believed in him as far as the Rams go, and I think that their belief is founded because look where they are. They're in the Super Bowl with a guy who's capable of winning it, and I am very, very happy for him.
So, Matt Stafford, Joey B, lining it up 2 weeks from yesterday in the Super Bowl, and we're obviously going to break that game down for you over the next couple of weeks. When we come back here to wrap up hour number 1, we will give you our early thoughts on the Super Bowl. We got 2 weeks to think it over, 2 weeks to break it down, but we, of course, because we're humans who do this job, we all got a gut reaction to what we think is going to happen initially. We'll give you our 3 when we come back. Rob, Owen, Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
All right, Zoe, back to you after this for Health There.
Okay, let me tell you about Health There. Now, what is the Health There? The Health There is a wellness program. It is not a diet. It is a place where you go to get healthy, and yes, losing weight is a byproduct of that. So here's the thing. You're going to get healthy from a cellular level, and you're going to lose weight as a byproduct of that. And when you get healthy from a cellular level, I mean, you're going to get built up from the bottom up, and you are going to feel like a brand new person. And if you lose enough weight, you're going to look like a brand new person, and you are going to lose that weight. They have a guarantee you're going to lose weight in 30 days or your money back, which means you're going to look good. You are going to look great. You're going to look in the mirror and go, there I am. I missed me. There I am. Hey, everybody, look, this is who I'm supposed to be. And maybe you're someone who doesn't like doing things on your own. With the Health Dare, it's always buy one, get one free. So you could bring in a buddy from work. You could bring in a relative. You pay half. They pay half. You guys both get the program. You both get healthy from a cellular level. You're going to look good. You're going to feel good. You have the energy to face the day. And here's how you get started with the Health Dare. Just go to idareme.com, fill out some information, and one of the Health Dare coaches will bring you in for a free consultation, get you on the way to losing that weight. And don't forget, it's a buy one, get one free. Go to idareme.com today. When you're there, make sure you tell them that Lonzo dared you.
$235, $240 almost. So you only have a couple minutes.
57, so we're back at 57. So yeah, we'll just run it like a normal segment. It'll just be very short. Okay. So you'll bring us back with music, do the segment, start the music at 59 on the dot.
Got it.
You'll start it. I'll get out between 30 and 45.
Let it run for a second and
59:50. No matter what, if I go quiet before, just turn the mics off. 59:50. Hit that trigger. Take the music out.
You got it. Did you tweet out the StreamYard?
Yeah, on the ESPN Upstate account.
Oh, okay.
So if you
look looking on yours.
Yeah, if you go to that.
Hey, look, the Russian bots are back.
Are they?
Yay.
And blocked with a capital BL.
Going at Ukraine and us all in the same week.
All right. Rob, you got a QC Kinetics at 145, and that's
Perfect.
you're only live.
That's the only one? Okay.
Other two are Lonzo.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, wrapping up hour number one. We're going to obviously get more in depth with the Super Bowl as we move forward. But real quick, we'll take about a minute a pop, and I'll start with you, Owen. We got a great game out of Joey B and the Bengals, who have kind of been cardiac kids to some degree to get here. Over on the other side, the Rams really for the first time against San Francisco since I think the first year of Sean McVay's time back in 2017 are able to complete a solid fourth quarter, not give the game away. Gut reaction in 45 seconds to what the Super Bowl shapes up like for you.
I don't know. The Bengals to me feel like a team of destiny, especially after that comeback. I mean, I hate to use that term because I feel like it is overused a little often, but this, you said it earlier, this is the most interesting Super Bowl matchup I think I've seen in a long time. It's two teams that haven't been there. I know the Rams were there in 2018, but that team with Jared Goff feels way different than this one does. You get OBJ in the Super Bowl for the first time, Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl for the first time, and his first full season starting. I mean, I absolutely cannot wait to watch this matchup, and I think the Bengals might have the edge right now.
Lonzo.
All right, really quick. I'm rooting for the Bengals, like I said, but I don't care either way. All I can say is Aaron Donald looks really, really happy to be there. And every time they show him, I got one more thing. I got Aaron Donald wants his Super Bowl maybe more than anybody on both teams. And with that offensive line for the Bengals, Burrow needs to be worried. That's all I'm saying.
Joey B sacked 9 times by Tennessee, and we all kind of thought that was going to be a major story part in this game, but instead it was Patrick Mahomes that was running for his life, especially late in that game. Sacked 4 times, but 2 of them deep in the game. In fact, that last goal line effort by the Chiefs offense resulted in a field goal that tied the game. But Mahomes twice was running for his life. One time put the ball on the ground. I mean, if the offensive lineman that recovered it isn't following up on that, isn't running after the football, running after the play, Bengals fall on that game's over. There's no need for OT. I agree with Lonzo. The Cincinnati Bengals offensive line has been the big question mark in this postseason. But you got to give him credit for what they did yesterday. Joey B sacked 1 time in that game, and he had time to develop throws. We thought it was going to be a shootout. I thought this game might reach the 40s. The Bengals offensive line did exactly what they needed to. That being said, it's a little different story lined up against LA's defensive front 4 in the Super Bowl. We'll give you some more thoughts on that coming up in just a few minutes, plus a couple of texts that have come in we'll respond to. Rob, Lonzo, Owen, and you. You're listening to The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Good timing.
So, FYI, in case you don't know, I got a clock over your left shoulder.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
That being said, and I'm not saying that because, I'm not saying don't give me time. I keep me there.
It's just habit, yeah.
Right. But the hard break, so the hard out.
You know.
I know where I'm going. Yeah.
Okay. You gotcha.
That being said, one thing that I would tell you to do is look at during a segment, look and see how long the next break is. Because sometimes they're 2 minutes and it doesn't matter, but sometimes they're 5 minutes long. And if we're getting to the point where you can tell based on time that if I go long in the segment, it's going to create chaos, don't do that.
Got it. Gotcha.
Then give me that.
Come on, Mark.
And what's up to everybody on the stream? You guys are welcome to comment. For those of you that are watching on not direct destination. So if you found this link, if you found the stream through a Facebook page that's not the ESPN Upstate page, a Twitter stream that's not directly through the Twitter ESPN Upstate, or somewhere on YouTube that's not directly through the Rob Brown Show channel, then go back and you can continue watching here, obviously, and we're happy to have you, but your comments won't show up on the stream. But if you go to facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, watch it there, twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, watch it there, or search the Rob Brown Show on YouTube. If you stream through any of those sites directly, then your comments will show up on our stream if you comment there.
Yeah, I thought I'd be receiving more hate today. Like, see, Lonzo, your team lost. Okay. I'm disappointed.
Yeah. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be with you again. I am Rob Brown, joined today by a dynamic duo who are sitting in on the board and on the stream. We start with the young man pushing the button, switching the switches today, filling in for the role of Lonzo. My man Owen Watterson's in the building. What up, big fella?
It's been a good first hour, other than some technical difficulties, but
Other than the parts that won't?
right. But it's Monday. That's supposed to happen. We're rolling now.
That's exactly right. And of course, joining us on the stream from the compound, bathed in the blue glow of the man cave itself, the great one, Lonzo, on board. What up, Zoe?
Hey, shout out to Captain America Chris Evans for taking care of the problems. We figured it out. We got it going, and now we are live and ready to talk sports.
My dude came up clutch. Not in the building today. We panic called him on the speakerphone during the first break, and he's like, dude, we got you, bro. Captain America, Chris Evans down the hall. I will forgive him for talking my head coach into retiring last week.
No, you won't. You're just being nice to him today. That's all.
Correct. That is correct. I don't know. For those of you that missed it last week, Chris came in on a show. Chris came in, and he's working with Lonzo on something over there. And Chris, not a big NFL football guy, right? So he's standing over there, and that day I happened to wear a Saints hoodie and a Saints hat. And he looks at me during the break. I haven't even said hi yet because he was like on a mission. And so anyway, he's waiting for something to load, and he looks at me and he goes, hey, Rob, how the Saints doing? The sound you can't hear is me very agitatedly drumming my fingers on the desk as I looked across at him and went, not great, Chris, not great.
Just rubbing salt in the wound.
Well, so he says this, and I said, well, our last year's quarterback shattered his knee and is a free agent, so don't know if he'll come back. Our current quarterback is a guy who's not a quarterback, but is getting paid like a quarterback to be a special teams player. We're going to have to shed about half our best players to get back under salary cap. And our owner is talking as if the head coach is not coming back. So not great, Chris, not great. He's like, you don't know football. Lonzo, how long was it after that he left the room? About 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
About that you were in the middle of a wonderful, heartwarming segment about your favorite coach of all time, Urban Meyer, and I had to interrupt with breaking news. So
cherry on top of the Sunday. I had lined up an eloquent, well thought out, nuanced conversation about how much Urban Meyer sucks as a coach and a person. And I'm in the middle of this segment, which I've been looking forward to, when Lonzo breaks the glass 12 minutes after Chris Evans left the studio to announce that Sean Payton has announced that he is stepping down as the head coach of the Saints. So not only am I $70 million over the cap, don't have a quarterback, half my players are gone, but my coach in the middle of that looked around and went, oh, this place is on fire. I'm going to go ahead and head on out if that's all right with y'all. Suffice to say, I'm not saying we're even, Chris, but I appreciate the help.
I just want to point out that Rob used the word nuanced and suck in the same sentence, which is proof that we are the #1 sports show in all of South Carolina.
Versatility, baby. You got to be a 5-tool player. You know what I'm saying? All right. Texture says, Houday, great year for Cincinnati football. Listen, Houday is plagiarism. All right. It's Houdat. It's always been Houdat. It's been Houdat from the beginning. That being said, Roger Goodell can kiss the right cheek. So I hope LA gets beat in the Super Bowl by about 50. I hope Joey B goes out there and just carves the Rams up. I will never forgive the Rams for the pass interference call. I firmly believe that Roger Goodell has pulled strings to get his LA baby into the Super Bowl. So I hope, as a fan, like as a radio guy, I'm going to give you as down the middle, impartial observations as I can. As a football fan away from the radio, I hope LA loses by about 70.
You know, I also hope that just in the way the 49ers fans basically took over SoFi Stadium yesterday, I hope the Bengals make the trip, and I hope their fans absolutely outnumber the Rams fans.
So here's the problem you're going to have, and I've talked about this since, since LA got not one but two teams and almost got a third. LA is a huge city. It's not a good sports city. LA is not a good sports city. It's the most fickle sports city in America. And I am willing to make this bet. 31 other stadiums, if they are hosting a game like the Rams hosted, 31 other NFL stadiums, it's 70-30 home team fans. Yesterday, it's about 60-40 San Francisco fans. I saw multiple reporters tweeting out that there were swaths of red and gold throughout that stadium. In fact, anytime they did a crowd fly over the camera, there was as much red, if not more red than blue in that stadium. The problem is that when a team is good, Kobe's Lakers, the LA fans all of a sudden are on board. Think about this. When USC football was in the Reggie Bush days, right? And they were making repeated trips to national championships and Heisman Trophy wins, etc. When USC was in the Reggie Bush days, USC was everywhere. I mean, they were everywhere. You couldn't turn on the TV without seeing the crimson and gold. When you turned on the television, there were celebrities rocking USC stuff. USC was getting every primetime game. And granted, I mean, it's always that way because the best teams go on primetime. But USC was getting primetime games against nobodies, right? Against Southeastern Coastal California State Polytech U for the blind. They were getting primetime games. And then Pete Carroll left, and Reggie Bush left, and Lendo White left, and all these guys left. Matt Leinart left, and USC was bad. And where do you see USC nowadays? You see them one segment a week on College Game Day when they come on and go, when is USC going to rejoin the fray? Well, here's the problem with LA, and I hope this is fact. This is nothing more than an I hate LA segment right now, and I don't care. It's my show. Shut up. LA fans jump on board when the team is good, and they leave town when they're not. So they yesterday went, oh, wait, there's still a chance we don't win this game, so I'll just watch it at home. And San Francisco snapped up the tickets because they're a good fan base. If that game was in any of the other 31 NFL stadiums, there's no chance. There is no reason that Matt Stafford in the fourth quarter, Lonzo, should have to go to a silent count in his own stadium. It's embarrassing, and I hope they're embarrassed, and I hope they get embarrassed in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was pretty sad. It really was. But I wouldn't count on them being embarrassed. And this is nothing to. I mean, Super Bowl tickets are expensive, and it could be. There are people alive in Ohio who have never seen their team in a Super Bowl. But when you have to go, okay, let's take out a mortgage to go to the Super Bowl or stay at home and watch it. I'm guessing there'll be more celebrities and more Rams fans than there will be Cincinnati fans this time.
Yeah, because now they got a chance to be on TV with a trophy, right? Like there was no there was a trophy. There was an NFC trophy to be won this past weekend. But, look, I don't hate actors and entertainers the way that a lot of people seem to hate actors and entertainers nowadays. I appreciate it. It's a hard craft. If you've never tried acting, try it. It's not easy, right? I don't hate actors and entertainers from California the way that a lot of people around here tend to do. However, and I think to some degree, all of us are in this. I've been accused of this many times in my life. When you're in the line of business, and at the end of the day, like it or not, the line of business that me and Lonzo and Owen are in is entertainment, right? Like, yes, we say we're in sports, but we're in entertainment primarily. Our job is to entertain you. I might be the smartest dude in the world, but if I come here and break down the NFC Championship game in this voice, none of you are going to listen because this is not entertaining at all. Right? We're in the
and you think you were listening to a different station who sounds just like that.
Also correct. You would think so in entertainment, there is one rule. Get the mic, right? You can't entertain if you don't have the mic, which is why every job I've ever had requires a microphone. I'm in a band, microphone. I go to games and I PA at different games, microphone. I'm on the radio, microphone. I'm on TV, microphone. You grab the mic is rule number one. If there is a time for you to get in front of a crowd and tell everybody who you are and why you're entertaining, you take it. That's the LA mentality. That's why Hollywood is there. LA fans now have a chance to show up and show out. So I fully expect that SoFi Stadium, not this Sunday, but next, this is gonna be the most celebrity attended Super Bowl of all time, right? I mean, it's already got one of the biggest halftime shows at a Super Bowl we've ever seen. And there's a reason for that. Right. But it's like, I promise you right now, every commercial break into and out of, you're going to have Buck or whoever's calling it going, and up in the press box, there's Matthew McConaughey, and there's Bradley Cooper, and there's Rihanna, and there's so-and-so, and there's so-and-so, because they got a chance to grab the mic and be on TV and connect with football fans. They're going to take it. I hope we get to watch them all sad face at the end of the day. I need celebrity surrender cobras, Lonzo. I want all the surrender cobras from the famous people. As Joey B, he told Arrowhead, shut up, and he made him. I hope he does the same thing to LA.
Yeah, the only problem with that is if it's not a close score, none of those big-time celebrities are going to be there when it gets to the point where they can show their sad faces. They'll all be in their limos and kind out.
And it's going to be the first Super Bowl with a helicopter parking lot. Right? Half the parking lot's just going to be reserved for private jets. Jerks. Go Bengals. I don't openly root. Oh, and I don't openly root for teams in games when I'm on the air. Except now.
I'm with you. The thing that bothers me with the Rams is not the team itself. I really like Matthew Stafford. In fact, I was a little bit upset when he completely declined the Panthers, which obviously in retrospect was a perfectly fine decision now compared to where both teams are at. But as the same thing with the Lakers, and I don't want to hate on Laker fans as much as we are like these Rams fans, because Laker fans, if there's any LA team that has diehards, it's them. But I'd say most of the biggest LA Laker diehards don't actually live in LA. And the Rams are far worse than that, and for that reason, for a fan base that, I'm a Charlotte Hornets guy. I know what it's like to wallow in misery as a fan for years and years and years. And for that reason, I hope the Cincinnati Bengals absolutely take it to the LA Rams, win by double digits, and take that Lombardi trophy back to Ohio.
All right. 844-GSP-ESPN, 844-477-3776. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. When we come back here in just a moment from right now, I want to get back into, we talked very briefly about it in the lunch breakdown. And listen, we got a lot of football to talk. So for those of you that are inevitably going to text me, Rob, great games yesterday. Why aren't you talking about it? Like, we didn't just spend an hour and 15 minutes talking about it. We got 2 more weeks of the Super Bowl. Going to be plenty of Super Bowl talk. When we come back, next biggest event going on, the World Cup, is just a handful of months away, and the Americans trying to qualify did themselves no favors in their match against Canada, and then had the audacity, did Greg Berhalter, to say, well, we dominated that game. Did you? Question mark. But did you, Greg? We'll talk about that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Is that fair or not? No. I'll tell you what I think when we come back. It's ESPN Upstate.
Let me use the bathroom real quick, bro.
Yes, sir.
So Rob, what'd you think about Royal Rumble? Can't hear me because he didn't put me in queue. But you guys can hear me. The Royal Rumble is
If
awesome.
you're talking to me, I don't think he puts you in queue, so I can't hear you. Hang on.
I know.
Okay, how about now?
Yeah, that kind of took all the fun out of it because I knew you couldn't hear me. I knew
What'd you
you
say?
couldn't hear me. I knew you could not hear me. So, there's that. What I was saying is, did you enjoy the Royal Rumble?
The women's, yes. The men's was now, I'm not even worried about spoilers. You've heard about it at this point. Soon as Brock got screwed, I knew what was going to happen. Called that shot. It was too easy.
I was watching on delay because I started watching when I got home after the show, so it was pretty late.
Yeah.
So it got me because I was just like, huh?
Oh,
Because it was
Now,
almost
soon-
1 a.m. and I was barely awake. It was to the point where I had to watch it again the next day.
yeah. Soon as Paul turned on Brock, I was like, oh, Brock's entering at 30 and win. In fact, I sent a text to my buddy Mark and was like, as soon as it happened, I texted him like, Brock's coming in at 30 and winning. And he's like, no, that's too predictable. Yeah,
Well, they got to set things straight to where it was before, what it was going to be.
It was just what is it, Deus Ex Machina to create the Brock Roman line that they always wanted.
I did like the look on Paul's face though when he
Oh, yeah.
handed it. That was good. That was good. That really
yeah.
was.
I feel awful for Kofi. That sucks.
Yeah, because that wasn't. It
he
wasn't
was supposed
planned.
to catch himself and climb up and get back in. But it was it was like it was clear they hit. There's nothing you can do.
I was telling my wife, it's like, man, I hope he doesn't get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Because you might get in trouble for that. And how can you predict that?
How did they think that spot was going to work? Those barrier fences aren't but 3.5 feet tall. Like physics made that move impossible.
Hey, who might have gotten in trouble? The cameraman.
It wouldn't have mattered. Like the
yeah, but he could. The people would have noticed, but there's a way that he could have not caught the feet, and maybe they could have played it off.
Yeah,
like the ref wasn't looking right or something.
The smart thing in that situation would have been to have whoever had been eliminated last laying against the barrier, and he could have caught himself and then stepped on them.
Yeah,
but that was just disappointing, especially considering Cole had just made a huge deal about how Kofi is known for keeping himself involved so creatively, and then instantly blows the spot.
I don't think it's because he's getting old or anything. I do think it's because he had to fly all the way over there, and yeah,
that was in him. That I don't think the strongest. I meuld have had to have your feet by your hands to not have the momentum of them going down hit the floor.
I called Bobby Lashley winning though. I didn't think of it being that way, but it made sense.
Yeah, it made sense. And now you got Brock's getting screwed. Here's the problem I have. You've got Lashley as a champ who didn't go over clean. Does he look as good as McMahon thinks he does now?
Well, the other thing is you put Big E on SmackDown, so now he can't go after him.
Yep.
So who is the next guy over there?
Yep.
And what about Bad Bunny?
Dude, what a showing. My guy. Talking about
especially,
a dude who's won me over.
Yeah, especially with Riddle. The thing he did with Riddle, that thing was sweet.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to, he actually, first time I ever heard anything from Bad Bunny, it appeared on LeBron's show on HBO, The Shop.
Yeah.
Totally impressed me.
I heard he's a cool guy. Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Totally seemed like he puts everything in everything he does.
I don't know if you saw this though, but apparently he has been training with Gulak for months to be able to do what he did.
No, I didn't see that, but it's not a surprise.
Welcome in, Cajun boy. Good to have you, fella. Appreciate you stopping by. Steven, if you think for a second I'm watching...
You want that clip, this segment?
Yeah. Okay. If you think for a second I'm watching that movie, just absolutely not. Absolutely. I have less than negative interest in it. Even with a Sean Payton cameo in it, I'm not interested in that movie.
You're not gonna watch it at all?
No. I have negative interest in that movie. I have interest in that movie not existing. No interest. It's just like,
It's a meme at this point.
yeah, it's exactly. It was an excuse for Adam Sandler to make poop jokes on video. That's it.
I haven't even watched it myself yet.
You know, I like to think that I'm okay at this job, right? I like to think I'm okay. I was good enough to get here to Greenville. I was good enough that Lonzo was able to win me a trophy last year for it. I like to think that I'm okay at this job.
I love how you acknowledge it was Lonzo.
Oh, hell yeah, it was Lonzo. I got no bones about that. But occasionally, somebody else is able to say things more eloquently than I. And in this case, it was Hercules Gomez who broke down the U.S. men's national team game against Canada. Here's what Herc had to say on ESPN.
When they came to Nashville, Canada came to Nashville to play against the U.S. men's national team. They frustrated the U.S. men's national team in a low block. They waited for them, and the space was there in transition to hurt you. And so they did with CONCACAF best player, Alphonso Davies. No Davies, no Estacio. They still came in a low block. They gave the initiative. They gave the ball to the U.S. men's national team. And, yeah, you dominate possession, but you're playing lateral. You're playing side to side. You're playing backwards. You're playing down the channels. Very few times did you actually threaten in transition, which is what the U.S. men's national team does very well. They've got players that in transition can hurt you. It's way too predictable. And when you talk about what went wrong, I think about a player like Christian Pulisic, who needs to be a massive player for this national team. Again, I thought he was better than he did against El Salvador, but he's so predictable when he gets the ball, always cutting in, waiting for the overlap. He gets frustrated, even though he tried to break through the lines. He tried to take guys on, It's just way too predictable, way too slow. No urgency out of this team. And Canada took their chances, and Canada doesn't need one or two or three or four. They will get you with the first. They're that type of team. The two forwards that they have are among the best in CONCACAF. Jonathan David is the best 9 in CONCACAF. He facilitates, he scores, he threatens, just on every single facet. They came up second best, especially in the physicality. And when I mean physicality, it's preparing for the next ball. I mean, you can't give up opportunities to the opposition off your own goal kicks, whether there's wind, whether Matt Turner doesn't hit it well. The second ball, nobody's there. When you try to react, they're playing through you very easily. And then Miles Robinson just gets bodied, and then Matt Turner should have made a save, didn't make a save. It just reactive, no urgency.
Yes. Reactive, no urgency. Herc nailed it. This was, if you listen, there are 3 games in the set. I was already mad that we decided, because by the way, for those of you who don't know, don't follow, when you are hosting a World Cup qualifier, you have control over everything, right? You have control over everything. I'm already upset enough that you have that you had 3 games and you decided the 2 that we host, let's put them in sub-freezing temperature and potentially snow, and negate the speed advantage we have over El Salvador and Honduras. Then you got to go to Canada, which, I mean, it is what it is. I was kind of bummed out that this game directly butted up against the AFC Championship game, right? Like, I don't know whether or not the Team USA Soccer called Canada was like, hey, dude, listen, you already got home field. You already got advantage, but can you not put us up against the NFL? Because there's a lot of potentially casual fans that might have been interested in this game, but they're not going to forsake NFL football over it. One thing I've implored soccer to do for years is not to go head to head with American football. Don't do it. You're going to lose, right? And so many soccer fans are like, well, we got to go head to head so we can beat foot. You're not gonna. You're not gonna now. And even if we do become a soccer power, you're never going to beat American football. Work around it so that casual fans can do both. But all of that aside, as far as on the field play goes, Herc was exactly right. This team had no urgency. You know what it felt like? It felt like the same attitude that it felt like when we went up a couple of years back, Owen, and we talked about this game earlier when we were up against, who was it, Honduras or El Salvador, whoever it was. I've bleached it from my memory, with the World Cup berth on the line. Win this game and you're in the World Cup, and we lose the game. And it felt like there was no urgency. There was no do or die attitude. There was no aggressiveness. In this game, it felt like the Americans were effectively happy with, we're going to take what Canada gives us and try to make something out of it. Well, I got news for you. Canada knew exactly what to give you so that you did not do what you do best, right? They're like, okay, this team they utilize the speed. They defend aggressively. They try to get takeaways and then fast break you on the counter the other way. So instead, we're going to allow them to maintain possession on their third of the field. If they've got the ball down by their goal, let them play laterally, back and forth, left back to right back to left back to right back. Let them have that. Let them have all the possession in the world. And when they make a mistake, capitalize on it. Greg Berhalter came out and said, yeah, Brandon, that's right. It was Trinidad and Tobago. It was worse than Honduras and El Salvador. That's exactly right. Thank you, Brandon. Canada said, if you possess it, but you're going to play left to right in the back third, we're cool with that. That's exactly what we did. Christian Pulisic has been phenomenal for the U.S. men's national team since he showed up. But in the last few games that he's played, when he's been healthy and available, there's no creativity, right? Like, and this is the problem that I think I have with Greg Berhalter. It's too formulaic, right? It's too formulaic. He said he threw Giassi Zardes in there as a starter, and he wanted Zardes in there as a starter to create chaos, and that's great. That's what we should do. We should be a chaotic team. We should not be playing British football. We should not be playing South American rhythm football. We should just be reckless and forward and chaotic. And that's why Zardes has been fantastic. If there is a second chance garbage off the pole, Zardes is the cleanup man. And I got no problem. There's a lot of U.S. fans that don't want Giassi Zardes in the starting lineup. I got no problem with him being on the pitch because he is the cleanup man. The problem is we got nothing to clean up. We're playing lateral football. We're playing left to right in the back third. There is no creativity to push forward because with Berhalter, to me, it's so formulaic. It's so paint by numbers that there's no room to go outside the lines and make something happen. And when you're up against Canada, especially when you're up against El Salvador, Honduras, Trinidad and Tobago, Costa Rica, you should be doing everything you can to paint outside the lines and go make something happen instead of laying back and waiting for it to happen for you. That's been my problem with Berhalter. It remains. I got no problem with the talent. I really don't even hate the starting 11s he's been throwing out recently. I've had some troubles in the past, but the starting 11s haven't bothered me. It's just so paint by numbers that there's no opportunities created by special players doing special things. We have got a young roster, a lot of special players on it. Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah. We've got special players, especially across the front. But when the formula says play left to right in the back until something happens, you have removed them from play. Gio Reyna can't do anything when the ball's getting passed left to right across the fullbacks. And then he goes, well, you know, we maintain possession. We maintain possession, right? We own the possession. I don't care. I don't care. If an NBA team runs the shot clock down to 23 seconds and owns 70% of possession, but they shoot 15% from the floor, it doesn't matter how long you have the ball. When we have the ball for 65 minutes, but don't do anything with it, what the hell does it matter, Greg? That was not dominating. Canada said, cool, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Boom, there's our chance to score. Can't do that. And if we're going to do that against Canada and Mexico, I'm kind of at the frustration level of who the hell cares if we make the World Cup? Because if we're going to play like that, Spain's going to kick our ass. Italy's going to kill us. England's going to kill us. Belgium's going to kill us. Portugal's going to kill us. If we can't get past the point where we're happy to pass it left and right for 65 and not let special players make special plays, it doesn't really matter if we get to the World Cup. We'll get another round of 16, fun, emotional victory to carry us on like Landon Donovan has been doing with that goal for 8, 12, whatever years it's been now, right? We're just going to get another victory like that, and they get bounced in the round of 8 like we always do. And if we're going to keep in this formulatic, Owen, I'm to the point now, and I'm not trying to be a big fan. I'm wearing my red, white, and blue today literally for a reason to talk about this. If we're going to do that, I kind of don't care if we make the World Cup because it kind of doesn't matter.
No, you're totally right. I mean, the way Greg Berhalter plays soccer, you hit it on the head, man. You're talking, he doesn't want to play outside of his system, which is not what soccer is. You have to let your special players make plays. And I think Brandon brings up a good point here in the chat that for the most part, there isn't a single number 9 striker, for those who don't know, that the Berhalter and the U.S. men's national team can field right now that really makes a difference on a consistent basis. I mean, Josh Sargent, I've always liked to think could be that guy, but every time he's on the pitch, he's not that guy. And when your best player in Christian Pulisic isn't being himself, I'd like to think it's that Chelsea wear and tear. The style of play over there in the Premier League is so much different.
He's also sorry to interrupt, but I got to throw this in because I think it's an important part. Pulisic's played like 5 different positions for Chelsea in the last 3 months, right? They've moved him from the top of the formation. I think he played left back in a game not too long ago. Like, I mean, you're just moving. You know, there are guys like LeBron James in basketball where he can play the 1, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes the 5 you need to. Pulisic's talents, you can't do that because with soccer, you've got to have the special talent in the special spot. And Chelsea hasn't done that. And that's on Chelsea, but we've still got to be able to take advantage, even if he hasn't been playing in that spot, to train him to get him ready for that. And we're just freaking not.
I mean, they have one of the best center backs in CONCACAF, in my opinion, and Miles Robinson, especially when he's playing his best. I mean, if you haven't seen Matt Turner, the goalkeeper, there's been talks about moves to Arsenal recently in the Premier League, which is a massive deal. You know, it hasn't been a Premier League goalkeeper on the U.S. men's national team since Tim Howard was at Everton. I mean, they have so much talent, and to see Greg Berhalter almost toss it down the drain in the ways that he has throughout this qualifying stage, it's beyond frustrating. I mean, this is by far, Rob, I'm sure you can attest to this, the most talented pool of players to select from that there has ever been in United States soccer history, and it seems like more of the same.
Lonzo, am I a bad fan by saying that if this is the best we can do with this fit of talent, let's go to the World Cup, helps grow soccer, succeeding at the World Cup, help grow soccer, but going to the World Cup and getting it handed to us doesn't help. Am I a bad fan, Lonzo, for saying that if this is the best we can do, I frankly don't care if we make it to the big dance?
Yeah, you're a bad fan. Absolutely. Because there's always a chance, Rob. It's sports.
Not playing like this, there's not.
Right, but you can go in and you can catch fire. We've seen it in every single sport that's out there. And then suddenly, next thing you know, hey, you're up 2-0 and you're winning the game. You can't win if you don't go. You're a bad fan if you don't root for the team, and you're un-American.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God. Lonzo decided to up it just a little bit. All right. 844-477-3776. 844-GSP-ESPN. I need my fellow netheads to get in on this conversation. Am I off base here? I've already seen somebody on Facebook saying that we are being overcritical of Greg Berhalter. I got a problem with him saying that despite the result, we dominated. Dude, the result is all that matters. The points are all that matters. If this was a friendly against Canada last year as a tune-up for the World Cup, I'd go, okay, here's hoping you learned some lessons. Here's hoping you took some things away from that you can implement when we play them in the qualifier. We are past create the formula. We are past figure out the plan. We are now at put the damn plan into place and go win some games time of the calendar. And again, 3 spots get to go out of the 8 in our group. 3 spots get to go. Canada has not locked one up, but it would take a massive collapse out of the Canadians for them to fall. Mexico is nipping on our heels, and we got to go to Mexico before this thing's over, which as of recently, we've been okay. Not great, but okay. We can't be giving points away like this. We can't. And we just did, and I can't figure out why. Let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Lonzo's at the compound. Owen's on the board. My name is Rob Brown, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
a good segment, Rob.
I have one of those a week or so.
Oh, and never compliment the host. Ooh, he doesn't have me in queue again. Awesome. That means I can say all kinds of stuff. And only you.
Bro, that hit that Debo took yesterday. Whoo. Whoo. I thought my dude was going to die.
Only
Debo is
you,
about to be on the same
the
plane as
stream
McCaffrey is with the
can
Panthers
hear
right
me.
now. He's like their only consistent guy that they know they can. Not only can we hand the ball off to him, we can go to him through the air. He's going to deliver 90% of the time. And when he went down, man, it was everybody on Twitter was like, "Oh God, oh God, oh God." And I don't know. It might be Trey Lance time. I thought it was last night, to be quite honest with you. Even
I
with,
didn't think Jimmy G was bad, but you could tell he felt the pressure at the end.
I mean, those last two drives, I literally wrote it down. He was 1 for 6 for -3 yards and an interception with the game on the line.
Oh, yeah.
Like that just can't happen. Because I like Shanahan a lot. I think he's really creative. Maybe not the best challenge and coaching decisions sometimes, but as far as creativity goes, next level. I mean, he's going to be around for a long time. He's just never really had anybody but Jimmy, if I'm not mistaken. I can't hear Lonzo. I didn't have him in queue.
I know you should have heard all the things I was saying while you couldn't hear me.
My bad, Lonzo. So are you going to be here tomorrow?
No.
No. Okay.
I am being told that I will be there Wednesday. We shall see.
We coming back with some football, Rob?
Yeah.
More soccer.
Yeah, Steven, I noticed that too. The U.S.-Canada game was only on Paramount Plus. So unless you knew somebody or have a subscription, you couldn't watch it, which was, again, that's kind of crap. But here's the problem. The problem is the team that is hosting has full control over the match, including television rights, right? So Canada basically got to decide where that game was going to go, with a rare exception, and Paramount Plus, because I believe they were doing it because it's in Canada, got the only rights.
Hey, coming back to you after this for QC Kinetics.
Here?
After this.
Next break. What a roller coaster of emotions Saturday was for the great one, eh? First, we all get the ding on the phone that Tom Brady is retiring. And then, an hour later, we all get the ding on the phone that Tom Brady says he is not necessarily retiring, but is, quote, nowhere close to making a decision. Rappaport and Shefty and all the other NFL reporters dropped the bomb on me, baby, that Tom Brady, after 22 and 7 rings, was going to be hanging it up and calling it a career. And then Brady and his agent both said later on in the day, not so fast, my friend. I may not yet be out. Now, It came across a few minutes ago that Tom Brady's father has said that he is not retiring. He is not retiring. Now, he didn't say he's definitely playing next year. He just said he's not retiring, which means what? It means not retiring until next year. It means he's not retiring today. It means he's not retiring in the immediate future, but we don't know. But Lonzo, I suspect, had a whirlwind of emotions on Saturday about it.
Well, here's the thing. Because it's weird. I'm hearing myself echo. We're good though. My wife said, "Did you hear the news that Tom Brady is retired?" I said, "Did Tom Brady say he retired?" She said, "No, but Adam Schefter and Mike." I said, "But Tom Brady didn't say he retired." No, I said, "He's not retired then." So until Tom Brady says it, I wasn't going to believe it, because Schefty's just doing what he's told to do, and Rappaport's trying to get in front of everything to be first to announce it. And that's the thing in our society, when you think you want to be first. Well, as per ESPN, as per this, you want to be the first one. You need to check sources, man. And I suppose their sources are reliable, or they thought so, but I guess not. And here's what I hope, whether I like him or not. I hope Tom Brady did it on purpose and is laughing his butt off about it. That's what I hope.
Yeah, Rob, I was going to say this to you earlier too. Wouldn't it be just the most Tom Brady thing ever for if those sources were in fact true, for him to be like, "Oh man, I'm not the one that got to announce this. Screw you guys. I'm going out on my own terms. I'm not doing this."
So one thing that has popped up, and Texter, I had that next on my sheet. I'm glad you hit me with it. Tom Brady has a roster date bonus coming up, and I believe it's Friday. Where if Tom Brady is still on the roster as of Friday, he will be owed another like $17 million. So basically, Tom Brady's got about 17 million reasons, a la Terrell Owens, to be on the roster on Friday. Then he can retire with an extra 17 mil. And I promise you, I don't care if you do have a billionaire wife sitting at home who is raking in the money for you. Giselle, what up? 17 million bucks is still a lot of money to add into the bank as play money. You can buy a lot of avocado tequila with $17 million is all I'm saying. I don't know. I got to tell you, Lonzo, you and I talked about this last week. I suspect he's done. Tom Brady sounds this offseason unlike he's ever sounded in an offseason before, right? Tom Brady's quote has always been, when asked, "What is your favorite Super Bowl ring?" Tom Brady's answer has always been the next one, right? That he's never been content, or at least he's never given the image of being content. This is the first time that when asked postseason, "Are you done? Are you coming back? Are you going retired?" he has kind of sounded contemplative. So I suspect that he's done, and this $17 million reasons to last till Friday is the reason. But the fact that Pops just came out, Lonzo, and said he's not retiring, I don't know, man, question mark.
I don't think the money's the thing, and here's why. He's taken quite a few pay cuts to make sure that they could get other players in places where he's been. So I don't think the money matters to him that much. And just because he's not retiring doesn't mean he's not retiring from the Buccaneers. Maybe he's got his eye on another team that he wants to go to.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Maybe he's tired of the Buccaneers and he wants to go win a Super Bowl. Well,
Why
you
would
didn't
he
win
be
me
tired
one
of
this
the
year.
Buccaneers?
I want to go somewhere else.
Why? He would I mean, he's as you pointed out, he's taking hometown discounts. I mean, he basically is the general manager, right? Like, I suspect let me put it this way. AB got cut by the Bucs, and we have not heard of a single interview from Antonio Brown, right? AB was only in Tampa because TB wanted him there, right? We know that. Tom Brady is effectively the head coach and general manager of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't imagine why he would want to be elsewhere. I think the guy's done and just needs to hit a roster date.
Hey, unless you cut my guy, you might as well go ahead and cut me. I'm going somewhere else.
I don't know, man. Where's he going to find a better spot to land than what Tampa's built for right now?
Especially with the way the NFC South is right now, with
Yeah.
Peyton retiring, the Panthers are in shambles basically with Rule. Like
Saints are 70 over the cut, no head coach, no quarterback.
Falcons are in cap trouble.
You
like
can just say the Falcons are the Falcons. That
there you
suffices.
go. Right? I don't know, man. I this might be crazy to y'all, and it is kind of crazy to me thinking about it, but there has never been a year in my life where I've watched the NFL that hasn't had Tom Brady in it. Ever.
God,
How'd that make you feel, Rob?
like I want to go to a break. Please.
I was gonna say I'm already old. You ain't messing with me, so
I'm just ready for the guy to be gone. I've never seen the NFL without it.
22 years. I was 14 when Tom Brady came into the league. Owen was a child.
I was born in 99. I think he was drafted in 2000.
Take a break. I have to go pick up a box of Just for Men and my AARP subscription. I'll do that during the break. And we'll
I'll bring in some Geritol with me when I come back for you. Yes.
Anyway, we'll be back after this break on the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate.
Hey, coming back to you for QC.
Tell you about my friends at Q. Hope you guess my name.
Sitting here looking at it, man. I wish I could play it. When I looked up before somebody said Trinidad and Tobago in the comments, all I could think about, I couldn't think of the name. I was just thinking about that Taylor Twellman rant on ESPN after that game happened that went viral as heck. And it's still
not a huge Twellman fan, but he was spot on.
Especially that night. And I just feel like it's most of the stuff he said that night still stands true.
When you have problems when a guy that I ordinarily can't stand show him and come on TV, when I go, you guys right. If Stephen A. Smith rants on you, if Skip Bayless rants on you, and I agree with Skip, it's true. It's damn true.
Yeah. You know, they need to get back together, by the way. As much
Skip
as I don't like
Skip just needs to go away forever.
No, that's fair.
Skip just needs to go away.
No, Stephen A. just hasn't been the same. I feel like ever since Skip left First Take, that show just dropped off massively in quality. Max was good for a little while, but that dynamic just got old fast. It's more just Stephen A. bullying Max Kellerman for 3.5 hours.
Right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, putting a bow on hour number 2. Rob, Owen, and you. Oh, Lonzo's here too. Sorry, I forgot about Lonzo. I didn't forget about Lonzo. I can't forget about Lonzo. I just wasn't looking at the stream, and I have the attention span. Are you playing Xbox right now, Lonzo? I can't hear Lonzo, Owen. I don't know.
We lost him again.
We lost Lonzo. Perfect. Well, whatever you did before, do it again. I guess. I don't know. We'll get Lonzo back here in a minute. I believe that. No. All right, we'll get Lonzo. Oh, wait. I got it.
Oh, it's muted. He's muted.
Lonzo.
That's why.
Yeah, I was muted throughout the break too. I was going to say you should hear all the stuff I've been. Go back and watch the stream, or and hear all the wonderful things that I've been saying while you guys have kept me. I
believe Lonzo dropped his first swear word while we had him muted.
Oh, that didn't happen. That didn't
where's
happen.
Lonzo? And his mouth just started blurring when he was talking. So just the sheer vulgarity.
How dare you assassinate my character, sir? You take it back.
Grambling State University. It is kind of interesting, fellas. Grambling State University has announced that they have partnered with 2 companies that are going to be sponsoring an NIL deal for every scholarship student athlete. They did not announce a monetary value on it, so we don't know what the number is. But Grambling State University is now the first. This is an HBCU, a historically black college university, an HBCU. They have announced that they are going to be the first college where every student athlete will receive some sort of annual income as an NIL deal. They have partnered with 2 schools, Urban Edge Network and Athlete, ATHY to provide income for all Grambling scholarship athletes. Now, remember, Grambling has Hugh Jackson, the old NFL coach, is now the head coach at Grambling. So now Hugh, when he gets to go recruiting, gets to tell every kid that he recruits, as does the basketball team, the swimming team, whatever other teams they have there, every athlete at the school will now get an annual payment, stipend, salary, NIL deal that they will receive regardless of sport, regardless of gender. Every college athlete, every student athlete will now get an NIL deal. Boys, I had wondered when the NIL rules dropped, I had wondered what school was going to be first to do this. It is impressive that we have seen Deion Sanders at Jackson State, who has now gotten one of the top 5 recruits in the country to come there, stole him away from FSU. And the popular belief it is a plus 7-figure NIL deal that got him there. And he's got a couple of other top 200 athletes coming there as well, probably under the same guise as the assumption. But now the first school to offer a universal NIL deal that is annual for every athlete that comes to the school is Grambling State. Lonzo, what's your thoughts?
Well, this is the road I thought we'd be going down, and obviously don't say scholar athlete ever again. These are employees. They're being enticed by contracts. Just come here. Doesn't matter if you ride in the pine, you're gonna get paid. Come on to our school, and it's just a matter of time before the bigger schools go, okay, how are they doing this? Well, we've got Nike here. We've got Google here. We should be able to entice these kids. So it's just going to be highest bidder. It already was, but it's just getting worse and worse. I know you're happy that the kids are getting paid. I'm glad for them, but it's no longer the college football of my youth. There, I went old school for you.
You know, I think we've seen this in smaller ways across, especially big Division I programs. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Clemson, they didn't do something completely similar where every guy got paid, but one of the moving companies, I believe Tiger Moving Company there in Clemson, did a deal where a lot of Clemson's lower tier athletes, I think they paid a big, collective of them, a small NIL deal so they could be included. I'm with Lonzo. I figured it was only a matter of time before something like this came along. I am extremely surprised it's Grambling State, but so be it.
I am surprised it's an HBCU to some degree, not because I'm like, oh, HBCUs wouldn't do that. In fact, I think quite the opposite. I think some of the HBCUs have been really inventive in the way that they are trying to get better athletes to come to their schools. I'm not surprised they were the first to do it. In that they have done it. I'm surprised they were first to do it, in that it takes a lot of investment from companies, because remember, the schools can't have anything to do with the money. But the fact that they were able to get companies on board to pay every scholarship athlete, even if it's only $5,000, $6,000, that's a ton of money. Very interesting. And it puts them back in the mix. Hour 3 after this on the Rob Brown Show, ESPN Upstate.
Hey, Rob, can you hear me?
I can.
Wow, that's weird. I was saying earlier, which you couldn't hear me, I wanted to explain something really quick about the text that I sent you Saturday. And I did say on the air that there's no way he answers this right away. And then you did
were you talking about it in the air? I wondered if you were when you sent it.
Then you did within 10 minutes, which was a surprise. No, I was asking what's the difference between because Nicolas Cage has come out and said that he's goth. He has a pet crow and everything. He's goth now. And what's the difference between goth and emo? And someone, might even have been Steven, I think, possibly, asked if you had any goth clothes. So I said that I would ask. So I did.
So goth versus emo, they're not the same thing, right? Emo is very all up in your feelings. It's usually like, I'm alone and sad
Angsty.
and death and angst. Yeah, exactly. Whereas goth is more just fascinated with death and fascinated with it's gothic. It's fascinated with the undead, etc. So it's less about emotion and more about fascination with death, whereas emo is 100% based in emotion. There are goth bands I really like. There are emo bands I really like, but I never really had a goth or emo phase because I'm way too sunshine and rainbows for either group. But also, like, I and again, can't be 100% me on the air. Like, I have a fascination with death, right? Like, not in like I want to participate, because I don't. I like the alternative.
Right.
But I have a fascination with it. So I get where goth kids like make that their personality. And if you've never had your heart broken to put you in an emo mood before, good for you, because I have, and it hurts. And it's just about embracing that and pretending it's a whole thing.
Yeah, me too. I call that phase my 20s.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
That's when most people are emo, is in their 20s.
I hope nobody goes through that My Chemical Romance phase like I.
By the way, someone mentioned that My Chemical Romance was emo, and then other people said that they are not, because we were trying to figure out what bands were actually emo.
I think they're, as far as that genre goes, just one of the most talented rock groups, period. But substance would negate they are emo.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show back on your radio for the third, the final, the best, the money hour. Thanks for hanging out. It's ESPN Upstate. My name is Rob Brown. Owen at the controls. The great one, Lonzo, is back at the board. Guys, I got to ask, is this the best year of postseason NFL football we've ever had?
I don't even think it's close. Yes.
Lonzo, agree or disagree?
Well, as the seasoned one here, who's had, you guys life combined pretty close, I would say yes. This is the best in that I can recall.
I think it is, right? Like, I think that it is. I absolutely think that it is. I think that I think that between specifically the divisional round, where we had 4 games, 3 of them decided by a walk-off field goal in regulation, and 1 of them going to overtime. Then yesterday, we had an overtime game between the Chiefs and the Bengals. We had a 3-point game that came down to a chess match between McVay and Shanahan in the Rams 49ers game. I got to tell you, this is, I think, the best postseason football we've ever had, at least in terms of the sheer level of competition in every game. And it's been compelling. I don't really have I didn't have a connection, with the exception of my co-host is a Kansas City fan. I didn't really have a connection with any of the teams. And yet yesterday, I could not stop watching. Last week, there were 2 consecutive days where every snap of every game mattered. Every snap of every game mattered. Owen made me laugh when he comes in today, because we were talking about that. And he said, I screwed up. And I said, why? And I'm sorry to put you on blast here, Owen, but it cracked me up. So whatever. Owen said, when Kansas City got up, what was it, 21-3?
Yep.
He said, I thought Mahomes has got this in the bag. I'm going to sleep. I'm taking me a little nap, getting rested up for the NFC game. But instead, we talked about back in the first hour, we talked about Matt Stafford. We talked about Joey B. How about Patrick Mahomes, who was absolutely lights out in the first half? But Lonzo, I'm sorry to say, Patty Mahomes was frankly bad in the second half. The INT in overtime, not a Mahomes. That was one of the best defended passes I've seen in a very long time. Perfect body position and got the hand through, tip drilled it to his teammate. Great defensive play. But throughout the second half, Patrick Mahomes was just a bag of bad decisions, Lonzo.
Well, first of all, that interception, there was some luck involved there too. That guy, it just was in his arm, and he looked down. I was like, oh crap, that's the football. I can't blame him for that. And I was already saying something that Tony Romo ended up saying, that I think it got in Mahomes' head at the end of the first half when they didn't score and they should have. And I'm yelling at the screen, hey, kick the field goal. It's important. And then it turns out, what they said was that Mahomes told Andy that he had it, and Andy trusted him enough to let him go ahead and take it, and he didn't get it, and that it was in his head. And I think it might have been in his head to a certain degree. I also think that Cincinnati makes really good halftime adjustments. I think you got to factor that in there. And then also, it wasn't all Mahomes' fault. There were a lot of drop balls in the second half.
Sure.
And those guys normally catch the ball. And then there's the fact that he should have threw the ball to Kelsey more. Because Kelsey was amazing every time you got the ball to him.
Hey, Lonzo. Why the hell was Travis Kelce not on the field on that last drive? The final 5 plays before the field goal, when Kansas City's got an opportunity to stick one in the end zone and potentially end this thing, or at least make Joey B drive for a touchdown, Travis Kelce was not on the field. The backup tight end was running routes in those last 5 plays. Why?
Maybe he was tired. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. He was getting popped like they all were, but I didn't see anything that was unusual compared to what he normally gets. I think maybe he was tired. That's the only thing I can think of.
And Owen, I want your thoughts on this too. 5 plays, Kelsey's not in the game. And I suspect, and I don't know Travis Kelce personally, but certainly I've seen plenty of interviews. I got to suspect that if Travis Kelce was in the worst pain of his life, but his team's got 4 plays to stick it in the end zone and go to the Super Bowl, he'd have won it in. But between multiple questionable RPO decisions, right? And if any of them work, we're going, what a great call, except for the RPO did not work the entire second half. And when it was gut time down inside the 10 with Kansas City needing a touchdown to probably ice this thing, or at least make Joe Burrow's job that much more difficult at the very end, it was like multiple RPOs, questionable calls. Travis Kelce, the best pass catcher that's not Tyreek Hill on that roster, is not in the game. And Patrick Mahomes is, frankly, just missing guys. I mean, just missing guys, right? Before that last drive, there was one more where Kelce was running a crossing route, was butt wide open, and Mahomes rolled out the other way and just missed him. And I don't know if that was a bad play call or a busted play, but for the first time in a while, Andy Reid and the Chiefs were just making mistakes that they could not clean up. And this is not, look, they made mistakes against the Bills last week, but they've always been able to overcome them by getting spectacular play out of Mahomes, out of Hilaire, out of Kelce, out of Tyreek. They did it against the Bills. Yesterday, when they weren't getting those spectacular plays, I think they got so used to being able to overcome mistakes with greatness that when that greatness didn't arrive, they put themselves in a hole they couldn't get out of by playing good football.
Yeah. Again, I've said it all show, Rob. I think you hit it on the head there. I mean, this is the first, I don't want to say the first game, because there's been times where I'm like, oh, wow, Patrick Mahomes is human. But this game in particular, especially the way they looked in that first half, going back and watching the rest of the game, I mean, he just looked off against, let's be honest, like the Bengals defense is not that good. Still, they won this game. They've been serviceable throughout these playoffs, but the reason they've won games up to this point is because of Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Mixon, and company, not because their defense is elite. I mean, Eli Apple was getting cooked in the first half. He got cooked last week. So did Chidobe Awuzie. I mean, their secondary is not good, which makes me believe this was much more on Mahomes and, like Lonzo said, being in his head than it ever was the Bengals defense outlasting them. And I will say that last drive, I think was the last drive of the game when the Bengals held them to a field goal. I mean, the defensive end for Cincinnati, Hubbard, was having himself a game. What a big stop that was. I got to give them props where it's due. But overall, the Chiefs should have been able to overcome this Bengals defense.
And they have been. I think they have been. And I guess that's the point that I was trying to make there, Lonzo, is that Kansas City is not the most perfectly clean team. It's just that traditionally they've been so good that they've been able to rely on Kelce and Tyreek and Edwards-Helaire and Patrick Mahomes to bail them out of really tough spots they put themselves in. And don't get me wrong, if it works, it works. But last week against Josh Allen, they went up against an offense that was able to sling with them, and all of a sudden race into 35 points wasn't enough. Yesterday, they went up against a Cincinnati defense that Owen hit the nail on the head. I think that was the most inspired we've seen the Bengals defense so far, but they went up against another offense that said, we can go touchdown for you. Whoever is most disciplined wins this game. And yesterday was the first time, I think, since week 5 of the regular season that Kansas City wasn't able to over. And I'm not saying Cincinnati's not a better team than Kansas City, but they just weren't able to overcome their own mistakes, Lonzo, I think ultimately was what it came down to.
I'm gonna go uber nerdy here on you. All right, so I know it's yeah, I can go even further, believe it or not. When you rely on the magic so much that you use the magic so much, sometimes you roll the dice really low, Rob. And he hit some 2s and 1s yesterday, and that's why they didn't win.
Yeah, you're exactly right. My man Lonzo decided to go all D&D comparison with us here on the end. Look, it's and you can put this into poker terms, right? Or you put it into blackjack. I mean, sometimes on blackjack, you hit 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 and you keep coming up 20s and 21s and you wreck the house. And then all of a sudden you go, man, I'm on a hot streak. I'm pushing all of my winnings in. And all of a sudden you bust on the first card, right? You draw a 15, you hit and you take a 7. It's going to happen. But man, what a terrible time for it to happen for Kansas City. What a terrible time. Again, RPOs have been a bread and butter of these teams. Inside seam routes. That's what Kelsey ran to get that big play late in the fourth against the Bills that set them up for a game-tying field goal. Those seam routes. Cincinnati took those away. And when those got taken away and Kansas City did not have what they've always had in this postseason there for them and available, right? Reek down the sideline, Kelsey on the seam. Cincinnati said, we're going to make you beat you somewhere. You're going to make you beat us somewhere else. And when those two things weren't readily available for Patrick Mahomes, my dude was running for his life behind the pocket. Just in that last drive, right? In that last drive, Kansas City's inside the 10. I think they also had a similar spot to end the first half where they're down inside territory. And Mahomes ends up running for his life and running time off the clock to where they couldn't do anything. First time in a while that Kansas City made mistakes that they just could not overcome by out-athleting the guys across the way.
You know, I heard Greeny talking about this on ESPN radio this morning, talking about the over-under for, the stereotypical day after a team loses talk. Are they done? What's the over-under on, are they going to get back to the Super Bowl again or championships for Mahomes? And I wanted to ask Lonzo, because he is a Chiefs guy, with the growing talent here in the AFC. I mean, we saw what the Bills could do a couple seconds away from them playing against the Bengals yesterday. Obviously, Joe Burrow isn't going nowhere. How many more chances are they going to have?
Well,
yeah, go ahead, Zoe.
I was going to say, first of all, I mean, they've been in the AFC Championship game 4 years in a row. So practically every year that Mahomes has been starting, they've been in the AFC Championship game. And the 2 games that they didn't go to the Super Bowl, they lost in overtime. So obviously they were in those games. Unless some major pieces decide to depart the team, they're going to be back and just as strong next year. And each year they seem to add another piece that makes them stronger. And eventually the AFC is going to catch up. Some would say they already have, because the fact that the Bengals won, but I wouldn't say that the Bengals are the next team that could be there multiple times. It's probably going to be Buffalo. Yeah. But I unless some major pieces leave, what's to stop them from being right back there next year? And they seem to do well in the draft. They seem to do well in free agency. They're going to look and see, okay, here's another weakness. Let's see if we can fix this. And each year their defense, although it's not great, gets a little bit better. The running game, if it had stayed healthy all year, would have been pretty good. Why would they not be back again next year?
Yeah, I don't see this Chiefs team going anywhere, right? Like we all have, and again, knee-jerk reaction Mondays right. For a weekend. It's like, oh, 1 loss. Well, that definitely defines this team. Forget the 4 Super Bowls they've been to or AFC Championship games in a row. Let's just assume that 1 loss, right? 1 loss defines. It doesn't define this franchise. Patrick Mahomes is still really good. In fact, if anything, I'd like to think here, Zoe, that this will be the moment that the Chiefs look and go, all right, now we know that we've been caught, right? We're at a point now where deep in the playoffs, we can't just assume that we're going to be able to out fun and gun everybody in an AFC Championship game. Now we need to get it back down to basics. We need to play call better and smarter. We need to execute better. We need to make sure that the talent we have is correct at the right times and the right formations and run the right plays, etc. So I'd like to think that I'm not going to jump on the Greeny, the Chiefs are done. I'm exactly the opposite. I am afraid for the rest of the AFC. This might make the Chiefs better when it's all said and done.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And one thing about it, and I think Mahomes is going to go back and look, and he's already talked about this once, that he had to change the way he did things when they had such a bad start. He went back and decided to not go for the big play and to start working on the underneath. He seems like the kind of guy that's going to go back and he's going to work on the things that went wrong for him this year and get better at them. And I think some people forget how young he is. He's really just starting his career. And if he can fix the things that were a problem this year, and it wasn't all him, but some of it was, if he can fix those things, he can still improve.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But also, let's not pretend like the play style of Patrick Mahomes doesn't come with an earlier shelf life than the play style of a Brady or somebody who's more traditional pocket passer.
He's Brett Favre. He's Brett Favre. He's Brett Favre without the interceptions, although he's starting to throw those too.
I was gonna say was without the interceptions. But I don't know. But yes, Brett Favre was a gunslinger, and he was known to get outside the pocket and make things happen. But especially later in his career, Favre got to a point where he was a dude who relied on a moving pocket around him. Mahomes is a dude that goes set the pocket, and I'll get away from where the pressure's coming from. Even later in his career, right? The Vikings and the Jets specifically, but even his last year or two in Green Bay before they moved on to Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre's game shrunk a little bit, or at least the mobility shrunk a little bit. Mahomes, you're right, is young. And I think the dude's probably got 4 or 5 more seasons where he can still move like that and get it done. Also, Mahomes is smaller than Brett Favre. That was the thing about Breeze. Breeze remained, honestly, shockingly mobile later in his career, like still able to skate. And I'm sure Mahomes will be in the same boat, but not like he is recently. All that being said, I agree with you, Zoe. I think he's got 4 or 5 more years of being able to play football like Patrick Mahomes. But I also think the Chiefs have got to look at what happened yesterday, and frankly, look back at Buffalo, right? Because I'm not saying it's for sure, but if that coin flips the other way against Buffalo, Kansas City might not have been playing yesterday if Josh Allen got the ball first because they were in the same shootout. They just finished the opening drive. Like I said, I would like to frankly think that this is going to make Kansas City better because they got showed out just a little bit. And it's all the thing is, Lonzo, it's all fixable stuff, right? These are all fixable things. It's not like this was caused because of bad temperament or issues with executing. This was a few bad play calls, a couple of questionable personnel decisions, and 2 or 3 Patrick Mahomes mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and say it's time that we're going to watch Mahomes' career meltdown for the rest of the ride. The problems Kansas City had yesterday are all fixable. The biggest problem they have is that Buffalo has caught them, that Cincinnati has caught them. And so right now, I think in the AFC, there's effectively a trio of teams that are now all as dangerous as each other. And I think Kansas City, it's not that Kansas City's come back to the pack, it's that the pack's come to Kansas City.
All right, if I recall the first time that when they lost to New England in overtime, I believe New England won the Super Bowl. And if Cincinnati were to go win the Super Bowl in a couple weeks, then you're the Chiefs. You got to look at going, okay, these guys, we could have won these games if we hadn't made just a couple mistakes. We could be having 4 Super Bowl victories right now. What do we need to do to fix that?
Yeah, you ain't wrong. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. From right now, I got a few more things that we want to discuss before we get out of here for the day, including, yes, I am going to talk NASCAR for just a moment. Don't roll your eyes at me, Owen. I didn't ask for your input. Did NASCAR just make a really good decision? Question mark? He said, teasingly. We'll pay it off on the backside. Robbo and Lonzo, it's ESPN Upstate.
Hey, Lonzo, for not Rob Brown, Mark's first break. Excuse me, it's the same as the other top of the hours, right? I just put Mark
No,
Ryan.
no,
No.
you put in a Rob Brown promo and a 30-second game promo, and then Mark's intro because there is Sports Center at the top of this hour.
Oh,
So you go to
okay.
Sports Center after the ID.
Okay. So to go ID, ESPN.
No, no. Have separation between the ID. So there should be an ID and then a set mode, then those other two elements or those other
Right.
three. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And one more time, what are those other three elements? Because I have three in there that should not be there.
All right. It should be Rob Brown promo, and then the game image promo, and then Mark's intro.
The 60-second Rob Brown promo.
Yes.
Rob Brown 60 game image. And what's the last one I'm missing? I'm sorry.
Offsides intro, which you have to grab from his page.
Yeah. So it's just the Rob Brown 60-second game image and then Mark's open?
Yep.
Okay,
Remember,
cool.
again, after the ID, you got to go to ESPN.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
Bill receives some sort of annual.
New. Get it in time. LA's a 4-point favorite. Basically just
I'm not surprised by that. Remember, you get 3 for being at home, so they really just won. Is Lonzo in queue? Are you there, Zoe?
I am here. Yes.
Perfect. After you cussed me out last break, I just don't want to miss it again.
Stop it. You're starting to hurt my feelings. And to answer your other question, yeah, I'm playing the game while I'm doing this because I always do. I can't just do one thing at once.
What are you playing?
Diablo 2 Resurrected. It's something that's not really story driven. You're just
Yeah.
killing stuff. So
kind of mindlessly do it.
Oh, those are
pretty
the games
much.
I usually play too. I'll play story games if the story's really good, but if the story, like if the action between storylines is boring, I'll check out even if the story's great.
Yep, that's how I am.
If
too.
there's a game that has a great story but the mechanics are bad to it, I will literally go to YouTube and watch
the
the
playthrough for
cutscenes
the
as a
game.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I am too. Like even I hate to say Skyrim. I bet Lonzo's a big Skyrim guy, but I get super
Oh,
big.
I love Skyrim.
Hey, don't you diss Skyrim? Don't you even see the
He's
shirt that I'm
literally wearing
wearing?
a Skyrim shirt right
No,
now.
I didn't even
Literally right now.
I love Skyrim. I was super big into it for like a month span. I played it every day, but then I just got out of it and I just stopped. That's how I get with those
I've
games.
started again. I've started that game 79 times and never finished it. But I'm as deep as I've ever been on the playthrough I have right now, which is a two-handed barbarian. Was like I do not use magic. I'm RPing as a guy who hates magic. I come across anybody, like if I'm in a fight with 8 people and one of them's using magic, he's getting the hammer first.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
I will run through 7 melee users to get to the mage to kill him first.
It's called immersion.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is ESPN Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo, live with us from the compound. My man Owen sitting in on the board today. Want to remind you that you've got one more crack at the BetQL Giving Props promotion. You can go to the website, betql.com/props. Leading up to the Super Bowl, they are going to post 10 prop bets. You are going to answer those 10 prop bets. The picker who correctly predicts the outcome for the most prop bets out of those 10 is going to win $2,000. And by playing, you are automatically entered into a grand prize drawing for $10,000. Again, one more crack at that. It is going to be the Super Bowl, so you got a few days to really think about them. But to enter, go to betql.com/props, betql.com/props, and get yourself all up and entered. And if you win that 10 grand, yes, you may take me out to a beer for telling you about it. All right. You're welcome, and thank you in advance. betql.com/props to get signed up. And do not forget that ESPN Upstate is your home for the Super Bowl this year, your exclusive home in the Upstate. If you are going to be out and about next Sunday and got to work during the Super Bowl, well, don't quit your job, or quit your job. I don't care. Don't quit your job. I'm just kidding. Don't quit your job. Just make sure wherever you are, you crank the radio to ESPN Upstate, and you can listen to the Super Bowl right here on the show. Texter says, serious question, Rob. Do they train cornerbacks to try to catch the ball like interceptions? Is that a thing? Lonzo, there's an old phrase about defensive backs. That's why they don't play offense, right? That INT that got dropped by the 49ers late in the game, that would have iced that game, right? That game would have effectively have been over had that pick got dropped. But Jaquiski Tart drops that INT. That is the perfect illustration of that's why he plays defense.
Yeah,
the INT that ended the game, that's classic tip drill, right? That's classic tip drill. If you are down the field, there is one wide receiver and two DBs. Don't try to make the pick yourself. Try to pop that bad boy up and over to your teammate. I remember even in high school, we used to run tip drills. Even on offense, we used to run the tip drill. Throw the ball up, find the guy around you, tip it to him so he can get the pick without getting knocked out by the wide receiver. That pick was not on Mahomes. As Lonzo said, a little luck involved, because if that second DB is anywhere but what he was, that ball's hitting the ground and Patrick Mahomes gets another shot. But yes, Lonzo, sometimes that's why he plays defense.
Here's the thing, most DBs are playing DBs because they have the speed to play receiver. They just can't catch.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right.
Unless you're like a Deion Sanders or someone like that, or Revis or someone who could catch anything. But yeah, for the most part, DBs just can't catch.
Yeah, that's why they're back.
Oh, quit looking at Joe Burrow like that. And this thing is, I just see Kevin McAllister doing that. And it's disturbing to me. Kevin McAllister should not be sitting there smoking a cigar in the locker room.
Don't hate the swag, though. Don't hate the swag.
That might be one of my single favorite sports videos like I've seen in the past decade. Literally,
just showed the video from when Joe B was sitting on a full out recliner in the LSU locker room, lit up with the sky. And by the way, you know what's coolest about that video for me? Like what makes that video so rad? There is nothing but sheer enjoyment on his face, right? Like he's not jumping around. He's not nodding. My dude is just laid back. If you have ever, Lonzo's not. Oh, and I don't know if you're a cigar guy or not, but I'm a bourbon and cigar guy, right? I love a good bourbon. I love a good cigar. And I will tell you, when you find that perfect mix of a good bourbon that goes perfect with that good cigar you've got, content is not enough to describe how you feel. And Joby's got that look on his face, right? Like all his boys are all up in Club LSU in the locker room at that point, throwing down, hitting the gritty, whatever they're doing. and Joe is just on a recliner with a cigar, and he's happy as a clam to do it. That's just definition of cool, man. And then like they showed him before that from his post-game presser with the big diamond medallion on the chain and like the Robert Downey Jr. fashion sunglasses on. And they said, Joey B, are those real diamonds on the necklace? And he said, I make too much money for them not to be real diamonds.
If he thinks he makes too much money now, just wait a couple years.
Bro, like Ice Cube wishes he had the drip that Joe B had when he dropped that line on that reporter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but here's a problem. What a dumb question. What a stupid question.
Same thing.
I mean, come on. Of course they're real. He's an NFL quarterback. He can
And even
afford
if
the
they
real
weren't-
thing.
even if they weren't, what's the answer there, right? Like Joey B's like, nah, man, quartz. You know, I'm a great value shopper. I got money, but you can find me in the discount. I'm like Macklemore. I wear your granddad's clothes. You know, like he's gonna. No, you're gonna lie and go, hell yeah, they're real. And don't you hit me with another dumb question, son.
The bad question was worth the clip in itself, though.
Oh man, Joe B's got drip, and he knows it, and he doesn't care if you don't like it. Like again, I don't know. I just love that guy. Texture says, Lonzo's texting the show. He says, Texture says, ESPN, kids, don't listen to Rob. Smoking and drinking is not the definition of cool. I didn't say it was the definition of cool. I said it was the definition of content. It was the definition of happiness. And it's subjective. It's different for everybody. For some people, a Diet Coke and a Sour Patch Kid has the same hit to it. You know what I mean? For some people, they like to burn the devil's lettuce. I'm not looking at anybody particular. All right? They
As
like
long as they're not heads of wet lettuce.
You pack of wet lettuce. What a great line.
Here's the thing. You know what? Don't let someone else define what cool is. Cool is whatever you think it is.
The Joe B mentality. The Joe B
Right.
mentality. I agree with that. I'm just saying, for me, a good bourbon that pairs with a good cigar, I can sit in a chair for hours and not care what's happening in the world. It's great. That's why I'm a Joe B guy. That's why I like me some Joe Burrow.
I was very close to buying a white Joe Burrow jersey last night. Like, if I'm being honest, if they weren't so expensive, those NFL jerseys, just over the top, like unnecessarily expensive, I would have pulled the trigger.
I gotta tell you, listen. I don't have a lot of rules when it comes to fandom. I don't wear threads from another team. I never have and never will.
I would have
Right?
gone up in the office, to be
That
fair.
is why a few weeks ago, like week 13 or 14, I lost a bet to my buddy Andrew, who lives here. He's a Dolphins fan, and we made a bet that if the Dolphins beat the Saints in New Orleans, that I would wear a Dolphins hat live on the stream. But the other bet was he's the president of the Reeder River Riot, which is the Triumph fan club. The reverse was if the Saints beat the Dolphins, then he, in order to put it in front of people like I had to, he had to wear a Saints hat to the tailgate and to the Triumph game and had to keep it on for the duration. Well, of course, the Saints had like 22 COVID tests pop that got guys kicked off. So we were screwed from the beginning, and we lost. So I had to wear a dog. And it was physically painful for me because I do not wear threads from another NFL team. It's in my rules. Now, I will wear threads from like other minor league teams, right? Like, in fact, this baseball season, I'm putting a roadie together up to North Carolina because there's a team I want to say just outside of Raleigh called the Disco Turkeys, right? The North Carolina Disco Turkeys. And I'm 100% going up there, not necessarily because I want to go to the game, but because I have to have a hat that says Disco Turkeys on it, which is a dope name. I'm heading to Savannah at some point this year to go grab a Savannah Bananas hat. I have an Asheville tourist hat from a time that I visited Asheville. I mean, I'm still a Drive guy, right? I'm still a Greenville Drive guy, but I love those threads and they're not in direct competition. So it's cool. And I love me some throwback stuff, but I can't wear a Joe B jersey, but I know he's listening to the show. And I just want Joe B to know, I hate LA. I'm in your corner, big dog. All right. Just make that clear. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got a couple more things I want to hit. We'll run over some bullet point news stories before we get Twitter trending topics to wrap it all up on the Rob Brown Show. Rob, Lonzo, you, it's CSPN Upstate.
Hey, Lonzo, the start of this next break, you'll have the health there, and that's the last live.
Okay.
That's before we come back.
No, that's
No, it's in the beginning of the last break.
Gotcha.
I get what
Okay.
he's saying.
yup. It's cold.
You run cold, don't you?
Oh yeah,
So you're the one that cranks up the thermostat.
Yeah.
Brings me out of here every day.
every time.
God, every time I come in here, I
But
start
But
sweating.
see, I figured you would be one of the guys that didn't worry about it because you're
Oh.
40. I figured it was always Lonzo
No.
that was like, who the heck
No.
is doing this?
Every day, that's the first thing we do when we come in here every day. Lonzo, we got a culprit.
Yeah, we already knew it was you, Owen.
Did you? Did you? I'm
Yeah,
not
it's-
surprised.
This process of elimination, and I'm offended by your ageist words.
Yeah.
So you thought because I'm old that I'd be cold.
No. I know you're from Ohio, and I know the cold doesn't bother you. That's why I figured you were the one to crank it back up, and you were like, "Who the heck needs it this hot in this studio all the time?"
Well, there's a certain part of the day when it gets really, really hot. No, we want the air working. We don't want it hot. Come on. I do not like my underwear lukewarm. It's not a comfortable feeling,
Oh God.
and I'd rather it be cold in there than hot because it's hard to bring energy in a warm room.
Oh, I totally disagree. It's way harder to bring energy in a way too cold room. Totally on the opposite end of the spectrum there.
I would think that you're alone in that, but you can ask Diesel. He'd be the other one, but as far as Rob and I are concerned, we would prefer it to be colder. I mean, it doesn't have to be an ice box, but again, I don't want it so uncomfortable that I
Look, it's very
start to
simple.
sweat.
I'm fat and I sweat. All right. It's just I'm fat and I run hot. It is what it is. Some of
It's-
us aren't 22 and in shape anymore in 1999.
or skinny.
You gonna hold that one against me, aren't you, Rob?
Yeah, forever. Only forever, dog.
If it's as warm in there as it is when Owen's in there, when I was nearly 400 pounds, there'd be a puddle.
Oh my goodness. Rob, check this out. I'm gonna try boxing for the first time tonight. Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm going.
Sweet science, baby.
Yeah, man. Over there on Lawrence Road.
I know where it is.
Every time I try and go to the gym, it's like I'm only doing it to look better.
Yeah.
I need that sport mentality back with the dude. I need to punch something.
I've looked into boxing a number of times. In fact, is it the like the Greenville Boxing Club?
It's called Evolve Boxing.
Okay.
My bad. Forgot music.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show back on here. Rob Alonzo and Owen with you, heading towards the end of the show. Couple of bits of news and notes for you. Other sports topics as we keep an eye on college basketball rapidly approaching March. Of course, one first round site of the men's tournament right here in Greenville. And Auburn right now is holding on to that number one seed. 49 of the, I believe, 61 first place votes are in the hands of the 20-1 Auburn Tigers, ladies and gentlemen. When Bruce Pearl got hired, remember, Bruce Pearl lost his last job because of the NCAA violation of inviting a player to a barbecue at his house, right? He threw a barbecue. He had a player come there. It was against NCAA regulations. And because of that, Bruce Pearl, and there were some recruiting violations as well, all kind of in line with that, lost his job. He got picked up by Auburn, and Auburn went, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, what a bad risk. This guy's got violations in his past, etc." Auburn is now 20-1 on the season. They have won more games than number 2 Gonzaga has played so far. Gonzaga 17-2 hangs on to the 2 spot. UCLA, Purdue, and Kentucky. Kentucky started last week 12 and jump all the way to 5th. They came up 7 spots because they went to Kansas this weekend, took on the Rock Chalk Jayhawks, and beat them by 18. This is the highest Kentucky has been since they fell out of the number 1 spot in the first regular season poll of the 2019-2020 season. It also marks the first time the SEC has had 2 top 5 teams since February of 2019. Kentucky was 4th and Tennessee was 5th at that point. Gonzaga remains at number 2, UCLA to 3, followed by Purdue, as we mentioned just a minute ago. Houston and Arizona were next after Kentucky, followed by the reigning national champion Baylor. Baylor started 15-0 on the season and have dropped 3 of their last 6. So they're now down at 18-3 and down to number 8 in the polls as it stands right now. But what a jump for the Wildcats, man. That is a huge bump and a big win. I mean, look, you get a win like that over Kansas by 18, you absolutely get that kind of bump. That's a big get. We mentioned earlier in the show that DJ Black from Chapman this weekend has committed to South Carolina on Saturday evening, announced on social media that the Panthers playmaker will be a Gamecock upcoming. 72 snags, over 1,350 yards, 17 touchdowns, and now the first Chapman wide receiver to be a South Carolina player in a decade. The last guy that came out of Chapman and went to the Gamecocks turned out okay. You might have heard his name, Debo. Debo Samuel was the last Chapman wide receiver to commit to USC. Now, I'm by no means saying that DJ Black is the next Debo Samuel at South Carolina. What I am saying is the dude got recognition. Remember, a couple of weeks ago in the regular season, DJ broke Debo Samuel's record for all-time career yards at Chapman, and Debo flew across the country to show up, give that kid a jersey and an autograph, and take some pictures with him. That is a big get for South Carolina. I believe he's only listed as a 3-star, but I've looked at some of his recruiting profiles, and a lot of folks think this kid has a very, very high ceiling in Shane Beamer's offense.
Shane Bieber just one after another, man. I mean, I'm with you. I think that kid should be a 4-star, no question, especially if not anything, just for the ceiling that this dude has, the explosive capabilities he has. And on another note with South Carolina, Spencer Rattler was in Columbia for the first time yesterday, posting the little point mark. So things are going well for Shane. And as every single day passes, I like this guy more and more.
Yeah, I think ESPN the other day did they ranked transfer portal classes, right? Ins and outs, only in the portal. And if I recall correctly, I think they did like a roundtable with like 6 or 7 of their college football reporters ranking the transfer portal. And they had Beamer somewhere between 3rd and 4th of the best offseason transfer class so far. You may not like the transfer, but it is a part of the transfer portal, but it is a part of college football now. And Lonzo, I got to think the fact that Beamer is not only working the portal, but clearly is still going and recruiting, and the fact that he is paying attention to what's in his own backyard. I saw somebody call us the other day, and I know it was a Clemson fan. What do they call it? ESC SPN or something like that, like South Carolina station. I got news for you. We're not bragging about South Carolina. We're reporting what's happened and then offering the opinion of, at least it's mine, Lonzo. I'll let you confirm or deny. As far as off seasons go, for a dude in his first real one, because remember, Shane's last year off season was COVID restricted. It was hard to get things done. In his first almost regular off season, Shane Beamer's doing some pretty good stuff right now, Zoe.
First of all, I got to say the ESCPN, whatever that is, wow, that was clever. Way to go, Clemson fan. I really appreciate that. Don't we all? Be worried about your own team. Are we reaching a point, and it may never come, but I am curious, will we reach a point where the transfer portal is more important than recruiting?
No. Go ahead. I think we will. And I don't think we will, Zoe, because remember, not all, but the majority of guys coming out of the portal are going to give you a year. Some of them 2. Occasionally, you'll stumble into a guy as 3. But a guy in the portal can give you 1, maybe 2 years. Guys that come in recruiting, if you recruit the right guys and show them that your school is the best for them and can own that, as opposed to just saying that and then staffing them in the bench for a while. If you are right when you tell them and you stick to being the best program to advance them, you're getting 4, maybe 5 years out of some of those guys.
All right. Let me rephrase it. Is the transfer portal the most important thing for a new coach, a first-year coach or a second-year coach?
I was about to go more along the lines of what you said, Lonzo. Well, I'm with Rob. I don't think recruiting will ever be less important than getting big guys out of the transfer portal. You'll always have to recruit in state. You'll always have to have decent an influx of talent coming in. But I think the transfer portal, if not already, will soon holds more weight on a year in, year out success basis than your recruiting ranking does, right? If you kill the transfer portal in an offseason, just like Michigan State did last year, you can see an unprecedented jump than anybody could have expected from you, unlike a top 5 recruiting class could do.
I think look, Texas A&M right now is in the midst of putting together one of the highest ranked recruiting classes that we've ever seen. I mean, they're out shooting Nick Saban right now. I don't know if it's going to last, but right now they're out shooting Nick Saban in terms of stars, and I honestly think Texas A&M is going to start next year in the top 5 based on that class. I don't love it, but I think that they will, because if that class pans out the way that a lot of people expect it to, it's a 4-year class. That's 4 years of contributions out of that class versus Spencer Rattler, right? Which is the biggest pickup in the transfer portal. Again, we don't know which Spencer Rattler we're getting. Are we getting first-year Spencer Rattler where he lit the world on fire and became a Heisman Trophy finalist preseason last year? Or are we getting last season Spencer Rattler who got benched halfway through for a guy who also transferred out, by the way? But if you get Rattler from the first year, it is the biggest pickup that South Carolina and really maybe anybody in the country has gotten so far. But you're probably getting 1 year out of the cat, because if he has another year like he did in his first year, he's in the league next year. He's in the draft next season, right? So that's big. But I would also say you got to go find the next great quarterback recruiting, a guy that you can plug in after Rattler's year 1. And we think we may have gotten him in South Carolina, or South Carolina thinks they may have gotten him. We think he's got the potential to be that guy. If that's the case, he gets 1 year to redshirt under Spencer Rattler. Then he gives you 4 years at that position instead of having to play the QB carousel that Shane Beamer had to play this year. I think it's important. Don't think that I'm underestimating the value of the transfer portal. It is important, and it is a big piece of it now, but you've still got to be able to work recruits and get guys who are going to give you longer than a year coming out of the portal zone.
True, but you throw NIL in there too, and suddenly you can bring in that guy you wouldn't normally do when you're a first-year coach, and you can see, okay, I don't have to wait 3 years for my recruits. I can build a decent team right now and show the powers that be, hey, this is what we're going to get going forward. I'm able to look at this talent in the transfer portal and bring them in. I can also recognize the talent that's coming in from high school, and this is proof that I can do that.
Yeah, again, it's a kink, right? I mean, again, Clemson was at the top of the mountain for 7 years because every year Clemson was bringing in the top 3 recruiting class. There is your proof that recruiting still matters. And it's one of the reasons why I think Dabo has been, I mean, he's been using the portal this offseason, but it's been sparing as opposed to Beamer, right, who's like building through it. But again, Dabo's success came because he killed it on Alabama's success. We're killed it on the recruiting trail. The Georgia success right now because Kirby's killing it on the recruiting trail. It is still the number 1 priority of a college football program, but the portal is a massive supplement to that. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap it all up with Twitter trending topics on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Back to you after this, though.
Good. All right, let me take a moment to talk to you about the Health Dare. Now, what is the Health Dare? The Health Dare is not a diet. Diets don't work. You know what works? A plan works. And the Health Dare is a simple plan that anyone can do. Yes, I mean anyone. I mean you. You can do this plan. You are going to lose weight in 30 days, guaranteed, or your money back. And when you start losing weight, you start losing inches off of your waistline. And it's so cool to be able to go and buy the clothes that you've always wanted to wear but wasn't able to because you've had to go to some other place to buy them. Now you can buy clothes where everyone else buys them. And don't worry about being hungry with the Health Dare. You can eat the food that's in your fridge, the food that's in your pantry. You can even have fast food and carbs on the Health Dare. Now you may be skeptical and say that is too good to be true. Well, the Health Dare, they love it when you think that, because when you come in, they can show this plan to you and prove to you that it works. And speaking of coming into the Health Dare offices, maybe you don't want to do it alone. Well, you don't have to because it's buy one, get one free. You could bring in that buddy from work. You could bring in that relative. You could bring in that spouse. You pay half, they pay half. You guys both get the program. You both get healthy from a cellular level. You're going to look good. You're going to feel good. You have the energy to face the day. But you can't do it till you do it. And here is how you get started with the Health Dare. Just go to idareme.com, fill out some information, and one of the Health Dare coaches will bring you in for a free consultation, get you on the way to losing that weight. And don't forget, it's buy one, get one free. Go to idareme.com today. And when you're there, make sure you tell them that Lonzo dared you.
All right.
I got Rob coming back, set mode, ID, ESPN, Rob Brown, game image, intro, out. Cool. Okay. Just making sure.
You probably want to put these things on the other side of this live show, so in front of the sports flash.
Starting with what?
Starting with this, starting with the ID. Because sometimes with like, I forget what they call them. It's like different blocks, and I would drop another set mode in front of that ID. Because sometimes there's like sync points, and sometimes anything in front of the sync point will get synced out.
Mm-hmm. So where you said put that other sub mode?
Put it in between in front of the ID.
You got it.
We're all just giving each other COVID.
Oh, they're both out? Huzzah. Lonzo, so that you're aware, not that you can't see the chat, but your better half has come in to defend you from the allegations of impolite language. She said, "You're lying. I can hear him."
Yes, because she is also working from home.
Ah.
And probably listening to the show like she normally does.
Am I bringing in Twitter trending topics?
Alonzo, can you do Twitter? Do you have it pulled up? No worries if not.
No, I can't. I'm not
Okay,
going to bring anything else up on my computer that's deciding to not work real well.
Yeah, you know how to do it?
Yeah.
You can just search which currently trending on Twitter and read them. You
Only
can
got
either do the national trends or you can do the national trends, or I think there's a regional trending. Whichever one you use is fine.
Okay. There isn't much trending. I'm not going to lie to you.
Anything that's sports related goes to the top. Anything wrestling related, anything music related. The only one I stay away from is politics.
Yep. Do I open this segment with Twitter trending topics, or will you call for it?
No, you'll open it.
The sound
Here's what's
bed.
trending on Twitter. Let's see what Rob knows about it.
What about the sound bed?
Yeah, just open with that.
Okay.
And now, the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter Trending Topics.
All right, it's time for Twitter trending topics. Rob, I'm excited about this one because the very first one, and I think it's the #1 trend in the world right now, is Rihanna. And it's always a good day to talk about Rihanna.
Love Riri. Rihanna is expecting her first child, she has announced, with ASAP Rocky, the rapper. That kid's going to come out with more talent in its pinky than I have ever contained in my life combined. But you know, I don't care about celebrities' lives all that much, other than the art they give me to enjoy.
I must say, I like Rihanna. I like her music, and she's really nice to look at.
I bet Drake is punching the air a little bit right now. And before we get to a sports one, Rob,
I'm so glad you continue that instead of leaving the door open for a joke, because I might have got fined for it.
It's okay. It's okay. Because this next one, Rob, I've seen you tweet about it so often that I literally have to ask what the craze is. Wordle.
Wordle.
Tell me about it.
Wordle.
Why is it trending?
All right. So Wordle is a word game where you get 6 guesses to guess a 5-letter word, right? So you guess a word, and then if the tile stays black, that letter is not in the word. If the tile turns yellow, it is in the word, but it's not in the right place. And if it turns green, then that letter is locked in. And you have 5 guesses to figure it out based on the letters you've already guessed, the letters you know were in the word but not in the right place, or the letters that you did get in the right place. But like the lady friend and I have a competition going. I'm on a 25-day streak of being able to guess it. She's at, I think, 17. And it basically is who's gonna lose first, who's not gonna guess the word in time. Well, today's word is one of those words that the last 4 letters, you can stick like 7 different other letters in front and it would be a word. So it's just a guessing game. And a lot of people lost their streak today. And it's freaking Twitter out. And I love it. But your boy, boom, still alive in the smart guy word game department.
Wow.
Everybody, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
See you tomorrow on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.